Hey everyone, Kirostyle here. Welcome back to Hades. In the last episode, we did the epilogue of the game, so kind of like the official ending of the game that concludes everything. We got all the Olympians back together, we had a big party, and now the whole family is getting along and back together for the time being. Now we have a lot of side stories and a lot of loose ends yet to tie up, so things like Orpheus and Eurydice, Patroclus and Achilles, freeing Sisyphus, Skelly's identity, and a few more things like maxing out people's affections and tying up any remaining plot points. So in this episode, I'm going to do it a little bit differently, and I'm going to group each section of cutscenes into chunks. So if you want to just see the conclusion to Orpheus' story, you can click on that. If you just want to see what happens to Achilles, you can click on that as well. Now, originally, I wanted the epilogue to be in the same episode as all of these clips, but it just turned out to be way too long. There was so much more left in this game yet to do that I didn't realize. It actually took me quite a bit of playing, like almost 2 weeks of playing, to get everything kind of unlocked after the epilogue, which I did not think it would take that long. So, I just wanted to make this a separate video to make sure that the video didn't get too long, and there will be some things that I might not be able to get to in this game. There's still so much left in this game yet to explore, but I think I'm going to do my best to try to get the main plot points out of the way so we can kind of conclude this series and leave it on a good note with most of the questions answered. So I hope you guys enjoy. I worked really hard on this, and let's get on with the show.
I need to ask something of you.
Oh, there you are, Than.
Thanatos, I'd ask you to come in, but you're already here. It's really good to see you.
Just tell me one thing, Zagreus. Did you really mean what you told me before, that maybe we ought to take our time?
Of course! We have plenty of time. We're immortal.
I just don't mean to push you, Than. I know all this is kind of a lot. And I wanted you to know this isn't some impulsive thing for me. I'll wait for you however long it takes.
Aww.
You have no concept of which impulses to act upon and which to keep in check. You say you'll wait? Well, let me ask you this. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I'm here. Already. Right?
Aw, Than.
Than. Oh, you're right. Hey, Than. Look, speak up already. I don't like it when you're quiet for too long. What's on your mind?
A lot of things, and you will have to grow to like it, Zag. Or what I mean is, don't take my silence the wrong way, alright? I better get going though, I'm way behind on work, but see you again, if that's alright.
It is. It is.
Aw, they're sweet. That was cute. We finally finished our friendship with Dan. Well, it's beyond friendship now. So let's give some ambrosia to some of our companions here. I'm gonna prioritize Mort because I really like Thanatos and I like him.
Drink up there, Mort.
Love the idea that I'm feeding this companion plush thing ambrosia, so I'm getting him to drink it out. Is he a plushie or is it like a living thing that resembles a plushie? Or am I just pouring it on the plushie?
Powered up. Better than new. Mort, you are all set.
There we go.
It is my understanding that you have grown rather close with Thanatos, my kin. A perfect choice of mate, though I confess I'd not expected death to have affection for another save himself.
Well done.
Boy.
I always fancied Thanatos, you know. So put together and everything. I'm pleased to see you've grown so close. Things good between you two?
They are. Thank you, Mother.
Hey, there you are. So is it true? You know, about you and Thanatos? Because he told me and I just said, whoa, but then everything made sense?
I'm sure whatever it is he said is completely true. Yes, Hypnos.
Whoa.
I thank you for your blessings, Queen Persephone. Your son and I, we always were quite close, but through all this ordeal we've become rather inseparable, I think.
Well, I can see he has better taste than I do, Thanatos. I have a sense of how industrious you are. You just take care of yourself, please. And take care of each other too, all right?
As you will, Queen. I mean, all right.
All right.
Oh, hi! Hey, I saw you in Thanatos recently, Prince. You two, if you don't mind me saying, you are quite the pair. I mean, you ought to see yourselves. Makes me a little woozy just remembering it now. Well, up I go then. Bye!
Bye. Guess everybody knows. Hey, Than, tell me something, and forgive the awkward question here, but are we good? I mean, between us. Any infuriating habits I should know about, that sort of thing?
You know I don't have time to list all your infuriating habits, Zagreus. Though, if any of them were outside my usual tolerance threshold, I promise to let you know. Alright?
That's a cute way of putting it. Outside my usual tolerance threshold. I'm gonna use that sentence one day. It's very good, Thanatos.
So then we're good. Because I think we're good, but I just wanted to make sure.
We're good. See you, alright?
Good.
Bye, Than.
Zagreus, if only you could turn yourself into a woodland creature and just fly or burrow out of there. My Callisto, she can turn into a bear. You ever seen those? Monstrous, furry things, quite huggable, if they don't kill you first.
Well, according to one of my endings, when I escaped, I got mauled by a bear. So, yes, I have met a bear.
You've never even seen the woods, have you? I hope you do someday. You could meet Callisto and the others. It's quite beautiful and green and calm. It's... Anyway. Don't know what it is about you, Zagreus, but I feel like I can be me with you, you know? Maybe it's that you don't constantly talk over me like everybody else. Besides Callisto and the nymphs, I guess. Not that I can even hear you, but you know what I mean, right?
Sure. I mean, really, I'm unable to respond to what you're saying, so maybe that's why it feels like I'm a good listener, Artemis. Finally! Oh my gosh, it took so long to get Artemis's seventh heart unlocked. You see, because Artemis, when you reach 6 hearts with her, you just have to basically keep talking to her, and she'll eventually talk more about her and Callisto, and once she does enough of that, then she'll unlock her 7th heart. So I thought it'd be easy, right? She was one of the original Olympians I was going to try to get 7 hearts with to unlock the epilogue, but man, in the time it took her to get to her 7th heart, I did pretty much everyone else except for Aphrodite, because I'm not romancing Meg and Dusa. But like, when Artemis had hit 6 hearts, Poseidon and Dionysus were still at 1 heart, and in that time, in that interval, I've gotten them both up to 7. And I have been taking Artemis's keepsake with me pretty much every single run so I can keep running into her. Now, I know this game, part of it's about RNG, but it's a little bit annoying because, well, I mean, first of all, I thought that maybe it was only like 2 or 3 pieces of dialogue about Callisto before she gave you the heart, but it was like a good like 5 to 7 conversations. But even so, there were so many runs, and I probably didn't include the clips here, where I would take the arrowhead, meet Artemis, and then she would just say like a short, generic dialogue, like a 1 sentence, like, here's a boon, goodbye. And I'd be like, wait, I know this game queues up priorities when it comes to dialogue. So if there's like an important event, they'll prioritize that over more generic dialogue. But for her, it felt like they just literally randomized it. So in the time it took me to get these like 5 to 7 pieces of dialogue with Callisto, I've probably talked to her more than 15 to 20 times probably, and all the other ones were just random generic dialogue or a couple of things here and there to do with the main story or with whatever weapon I was carrying. But I love this game. I appreciate the RNG, but I felt like that was a little bit silly. At least now, next time I see Artemis, I can give her the ambrosia, and she'll be the last Olympian I'll finish aside from Aphrodite because of the romance situation. So good. I really wanted to finish this game, finishing up as much as I could, and Artemis really felt like she was holding me back. Alright, here we go.
I know you have no shortage of ambrosia on Olympus, Lady Artemis, but I imagine it's less often that the stuff go all the way from there to here and back. What can I say? You make me proud to be a member of this family.
I never felt like I could be myself with everybody on this mountaintop, you know? So much posturing and bickering, and I just head out to the woods most of the time. Maybe you understand me better than the rest. I've no idea still. But I appreciate you've made attempts to try.
Yay! Okay, so I'm gonna start by reuniting Orpheus and Eurydice. I haven't seen Orpheus in a really long time.
In the name of Hades, I hereby release Orpheus from the terms of his pact.
Where did you unearth that blasted contract?
Alright, so next time I run into Eurydice, maybe I'll see them together. Hey Orpheus, look, you're back.
Zagreus, the most amazing circumstances have occurred. The terms of my employment, they've been altered such that I may visit Asphodel sometimes. May visit her.
I like how he interrupted Hades for a second there.
That's great. Orpheus, what are you waiting for, mate? Go and find your muse out there. You two have lots to catch up on, I think.
I think you're right. I'm so very anxious, I must say. But I must also thank you for this opportunity and for speaking with me all this time. So, how might I repay you?
Why is it always talk of payment around here? You're my mate, and your songs have lifted many spirits here, including mine. Now go, and make the most of this, will you?
Thank you. I shall. I shall.
And next? What?
Bye Orpheus. Hades, can't you see you're ruining a moment here?
I see.
Yeah.
Prophecy fulfilled. Hope Orpheus and Eurydice can be happy again.
You voided the contract with our court musician. Used your own authority against me.
So what if I did? Just gives him a bit of a break from time to time. He's still your court musician, isn't he?
He is. And he knows better than to undermine me, I think. Though I suppose the Queen would take your side that he has paid his dues in full by now.
He has.
Oh, they're finally together. I haven't encountered Eurydice in so long.
Why, Zagreus, how wonderful to see you here. Eurydice and I, we've been catching up for all the time we spent apart.
Yeah, so if you would excuse us for a little while, hun. I'm not finished catching up with him just yet. But first, before you go...
Bye now.
Okay, bye. Oh, hey. Hey, listen here a moment, Hades kid. Look, thank you from the bottom of my heart. For bringing Orphe back to me again and everything.
Aw, Orphe.
Eurydice, you're more than welcome, really. You've helped me through the flames of hell time after time. Least I could do is coax old Orpheus out of his private pit of despair so you and he could set things right between the two of you.
Well, you're a real sweetheart, hun. You'll still be seeing Orphe all the time around your house, but now I get to see him too. Nice having something to look forward to, you know? Bet someone out there feels that about you.
Yeah. Death himself.
Hey Orpheus, mate. I have something good for you right here. Ambrosia, all the way from the surface. I want you to have it.
Ah, but this is splendid, Zagreus. And I must say, apart from my Eurydice, I've never felt as strong a bond of kinship as with you.
You're too kind. Hey Orpheus, you're back. How was your trip? I hope it was all right.
It was more than all right, my friend. Why, it was positively inspirational. But I've returned as promised to this house. My love is there, whilst my responsibilities are here.
You sound despondent again, mate. You must wish you were there right now. I'm sorry you had to come all the way back.
Oh, on the contrary, Zagreus. It dawned upon me that having some distance between my responsibilities and my domestic life, why, it is not so bad. Besides, Charon makes travel to and fro quite simple for me, really.
Great to hear it. I can only imagine.
Hey, hun. I ever tell you you're a real sweetheart, hun? Because if not, I'm telling you right now. Where would my culinary practice be if not for you?
I think your culinary practice would be every bit as extraordinary, though I'm pleased to have done small service to you in this great pursuit.
Well, we both know you've done a lot more for me than that. I wasn't expecting to make any new friends here anytime soon, so all the more reason it's been a real treat to get to know you. If I may say, you're a hell of a guy, Your Royal Majesty.
Ha, hell of a guy, get it?
Gotta tell you, hun, Orpheus sure is different since last he and I met. You know, back when he was still living and breathing and all.
I think the experience of trying to rescue you, failing, dying, becoming court musician, refusing to sing, then being locked in solitary confinement, then finding out about you probably did a number on him. Why, is everything all right? You seem to be getting along last I saw.
Oh, we're getting along great. Better than ever. He used to be a bit more of a hotshot, but now it's like he's a little more, what's the word? Sensitive? Now I can always tell exactly what's on his mind.
Can't imagine Orpheus being a hotshot, but I guess it's the same as Sisyphus, knowing that he was a jerk when he was alive.
Hey Orpheus, you know I once wrested this bottle of ambrosia from the champions of Elysium, defeating them 2 against 1, just so I could bring it here to you personally.
True story, actually, this time.
Please, my friend. I feel I am undeserving of such a relentless show of kindness on your part. I shall accept, but you'll relent, won't you? As well as forgive me.
Mate, if that is your wish, then it will be my pleasure to oblige. Though may this gift symbolize the strength of our friendship for an eternity to come. I've learned so much from you.
Thank you, my friend. Would that I had capacity to take some joy from this.
Someone there? You got anyone special in your life, by the way, hon? You seem like you'd be good for somebody out here.
Oh, I don't know. It's death. It's death. I love death.
You know what? Yes, I do, Eurydice. Things have moved so fast for me lately, I barely stop to think about it, though. It helps not having to go through everything alone. Just knowing I'll see them again soon.
I like how this dialogue is written to make it a bit ambiguous, because you can respond to it regardless of who you got together with, I guess.
Know what you mean. And hey, that's great. Long as you can still be yourself. I've known too many nymphs. Their whole lives revolved around somebody they loved. I bet whoever it is that loves you, it's because of who you are.
Zag, I heard that Orpheus, he found his missing bride. Why, isn't that the sweetest thing, isn't it, man? I'll drink to that, and I think so should you.
They're both here.
Look who, Orphe.
I've never heard anything like this. As good as you two sound each on your own, you're positively wonderful together.
A splendid compliment, my friend. Doubtless the fates themselves conspired to ensure Eurydice and I would meet and sing together, fall in love, and then be cruelly separated for some time.
Now don't you start with that again, you get me, Orphe? Got our whole entire afterlives ahead of us, and lots of songs to catch up on.
Why, you're correct, of course, my dear. If you'll excuse us, Zagreus, our calling beckons.
Hey, you two, how's everything lately? On speaking terms again? Or singing terms?
Oh, things are going very wonderfully, my friend. I never thought I'd see Eurydice again, after I...
Orphe still just can't shut up about that time, hun, but we're making progress. Thanks for having him stop by. I'm sure he needed plenty of encouragement.
I have to ask you something, Orpheus. It seems like everything has been alright for you, except you don't look very happy to me, mate. Is everything alright? Between you and Eurydice, I mean.
Oh, but your concern is much appreciated, friend. I feel I am in an everlasting bliss. It simply does not show upon my countenance. Perhaps through song is how I best express myself.
You're doing wonderfully at it, mate. Hey, I know this one. Hey, you're singing in the blood after all, Orpheus. Thank you for taking my request.
Oh, it is certainly my pleasure, Zagreus. This song of Eurydice's and mine, I've a connection to it, I suppose. Reminded me of some fond memories.
Hey, Prince, I saw that Orpheus. He got some time away. Did you do that? He's visiting his muse, that's what he said. That's so exciting. I mean, they've been separated the whole time we've been dead.
They have a lot of catching up to do for sure, though I think they're going to be alright.
Yeah, you did it!
Excellent.
He's done it, Cerberus.
Stop interrupting Persephone every time, Hades.
So Orpheus was finally able to reunite with Eurydice because of you, my son. Oh, I'm so glad. Your father's arrangement with him was quite severe. Though he did ask for a lot for a mortal soul to return to the land of the living.
Is it even possible for Father to return a mortal back to life if he so chose? Just by letting their shade escape or something?
Oh, I've no idea. Probably not. But we were so moved by Orpheus's plea and song that, well, I think your father took pity on him.
Wait, we were so moved? You were there when Orpheus came to try and rescue Eurydice.
I was. Your father knew I loved their music. Imagine my surprise to see him as our court musician here.
I had no idea. Can catch my breath.
Who's there? Hey, Your Royal Majesty. I must say, you've accomplished some truly amazing feats, according to Orphe at least. But don't worry, your secret's safe with me.
Oh no, he's been boasting of my fabricated exploits to you. I've tried to tell him I was only joking with him, but now he just thinks I'm being modest.
That modesty won't get you anywhere with me either, hun. Your greatness. I'm honored to merely be in the presence of one with so many wild exploits to sing or speak of.
Can catch my breath.
Hey, you.
Hey, did Orpheus really used to have curls and something called a tan? I've only ever seen him looking, well, how he does now.
He did. And a tan is like, well, when you stay out in the hot sun up there long enough, your skin kind of starts to bake a little bit. But nicer than that sounds. Gotta say, though, the years have been kind to Orphe, don't you think?
Orpheus, I don't suppose you know how come I keep running into Eurydice in particular out there. For all the shades resting eternally in Asphodel, it seems beyond coincidence I always find the one that's dear to you.
I have no knowledge of the weavings of the fates, my friend. Perhaps they trample on what used to be my heart for leisure or for sport, do you suppose?
The fates can't be that cruel.
Majesty. Sure don't see a lot of other nymphs around here, huh? We don't die too easy, most of us. Makes me feel all special.
I've never met another nymph, now that you mention it. Heard of a few. The goddess Artemis sounds like she spends more time with nymphs than the other Olympians.
That's what I heard. Though it's not like we all hang out. I mean, you've got the dryads and the naiads and the nereids and the oceanids. Pretty much every type of terrain up top, there's a kind of nymph who loves it. Maybe we need a name for underworld nymphs too.
I'm pleased to know my new, more flexible arrangement remains to your satisfaction still, my lord. I must admit I feared that my departure would result once more in a protracted stay within the pits of Tartarus.
Don't give me such ideas, Orpheus. Instead, you go about your business there and play your blasted songs when circumstances call for it.
I shall be happy to oblige, my lord. Eurydice and I are grateful for your magnanimity.
Good thing that's settled then.
Orphe tells me the queen. She's been settling in just fine down at your house. Must be different having a lady like that around. How's Hades Sr. taking it, if I may ask?
Oh, he's taking it about as well as he's taken anything ever, now that you mention it. Still very much himself, mind you, but still, it's been a welcome change.
Glad to hear it. Orphe always liked singing for an audience more than I did, and it sounds like she's a good one.
Ahoy! Word is that the most beautiful music's been heard up in Asphodel lately, Prince. From the sound of it, why, I think that has got to be Eurydice and Orpheus.
You heard correctly, Sisyphus. Orpheus is reunited with his muse at last. Or at least he gets to visit on the regular when he isn't busy at my father's house. So you've heard of them, have you?
Oh, I've more than heard of them. I'm sure you know how Orpheus once ventured all the way down here after Eurydice passed on. I'll never forget his song. Even the Fury sisters gave me a break, they were so captivated by it then. Ah, good times. For me, at least.
I saw you voided the old pact between Orpheus and your father. So now he gets to see his wife from time to time?
He does, and I did then. I think we can stand to see a little less of him if it means he can be happier for the remainder of eternity.
You really need to learn to stop meddling in others' affairs. Did either of them even ask your help? I can't imagine Orpheus did, and I'm guessing his wife's feelings were complicated too, from what I know of the circumstances of their final meeting.
What? Orpheus is my mate then, and I came to know his muse Eurydice as well. They still had feelings for each other, but with no way to communicate.
So you decided to step in. I think my instincts on the subject are just not the same as yours. I know your intentions were in the right place, but you know what? Forget it.
Fan, wait.
I like how Zagreus calls everyone his mate. It's pretty adorable.
Hey, I didn't mean to lay the guilt on you for what you did for Orpheus, Zag. I just worry when we get involved, we can make matters worse.
You haven't ever made anything worse then. But as for me, I realized what you meant. I was so eager to do something for Orpheus when I first met Eurydice, I never asked them if it was okay.
At least things turned out well for them, but that was fortunate. Family troubles, personal relations, and the like. It's sensitive business. Though, who am I to talk? You didn't ask me to show up like this.
I'm glad you did, though, Fan. Hey, Orpheus, you know I'm very happy that things turned out well between you and Eurydice, but looking back, I think I might have overstepped my bounds with you a bit and wanted to say I'm sorry.
You're sorry, Zagreus? Whatever for? If not for you, I fear I never would have seen my muse again.
Well, it's just, when I met her and I found out the two of you were having problems, I just wanted to see you patch things up. But it wasn't any of my business, and you never asked my help. Neither did she. I could have made things worse.
But you didn't make things worse, my friend. And, truth be told, I do not think I ever would have asked for help at any point, because I don't entirely know how. So I am grateful to you and your generous instinct.
Well, thank you also, mate.
I like that the game brings this up. Like, yes, you can do good deeds and favors for people, and sometimes, you know, they don't want to ask for it, but you know it will help them. But sometimes you also need to mind your business because you could make things worse for people. So you really have to be a good judge of that. And I'm glad that Thanatos was the one who felt comfortable enough to talk to Zag and really say, you know, hey, you know, maybe you should have thought about this a little bit more. And like at first, it kind of just sounded like Thanatos being his usual kind of slightly grumpy self, but no, he was really looking out for and really thinking about Zagreus, and I appreciate that little dynamic.
Hey, what's the matter, Your Royal Majesty? You're looking kind of down. Normally you're all smiles for whatever reason.
Oh, well, looking back, all the stuff between you and Orpheus, I realized... Well, I hope I wasn't too pushy about the whole thing. It wasn't any of my business to pry into your personal life. I should have asked.
Oh, that? Come on, don't even worry about it. If you were being too pushy, you better believe I would have put you back in your place, royalty or not. But hey, can't ever be too careful when it comes to people's past and feelings and stuff, right?
I always meant to ask you, Orpheus, where did you learn to sing like that? Was it really Apollo himself who taught you?
Oh, I learned from many different sources, Zagreus. That is, before all of my inspiration started coming from a single source. I credit my accomplishments to her, and to Apollo and the gods. And to considerable time spent practicing.
Yeah, because Apollo's not in this game, even though he's one of the more iconic Greek gods, but I feel like they already have Hermes, who fulfills a similar role in terms of the types of boons that he gives, and Apollo would kind of thematically be too similar to Hermes, or maybe that's why they made Hermes look a little bit more like sun-inspired, because they didn't have Apollo, because 9 gods is actually quite a bit. Demeter was added later, so there were 8 before, but I think like if they added another one for 10, that'd be a little bit too much, so fair point.
It certainly paid off.
Have you considered doing music making as a recreational pursuit, my friend? You have such slender hands, why, I believe you do quite well at it.
That's pretty funny. I mean, I mentioned this before, but Orpheus's singing voice is also the voice actor for Zagreus, who is also the music composer for this game. So in this little mini side mission thing, you talk to Orpheus and he will let you put a lyre in your room, and if you interact with it enough times, then Orpheus will teach Zagreus like a song or something like that.
Not really been at the top of my list of late, mate. But who knows? It's something I've been meaning to try at some point, I suppose. Thanks for the words of encouragement.
Of course, my friend.
Oh, so it looks like they've added the lyre for Zagreus' bedroom now.
Contractor, I have another job. At least we have a backup singer if we need one.
What are we supposed to do with that?
Learn to sing!
Should look good right there.
Nice lyre, so I can examine it.
A delicately crafted instrument of music making now resides within the clamor-causing prince's chambers, doubtless fearing, if it could, his heavy-handed touch.
Can't be that hard to play, can it?
So let's press the play button. Oh, that's beautiful. So what I heard is you're supposed to interact with this thing like 20 plus times, and each time you do, the interval between the time that you're allowed to hit the play button increases or changes, so you can't just hammer it out super duper fast. But then once you do it a few times, then Orpheus will eventually talk to Zagreus and teach him how to play a new song. See how the timing between the play buttons seems to be a bit longer than it was before?
Well... yuck. Hey, Orpheus. I got myself a lyre much like yours, except I'm absolutely miserable when I try to play. Got any advice?
Oh, why, that's splendid, Zagreus. And I can certainly show you a thing or two. First, the proper posture is important. Here. Now remember to practice the plucking technique which I taught you, and mind your offhand constantly. And above all, continue practicing. The joyfulness is in the practicing itself.
That didn't sound like a Lyre during that little interlude.
Thanks for the impromptu lesson, mate.
Keep moving next.
That is a sound. This is hard.
Zagreus, I heard your recent lyre playing from your bedchambers. Let no one lead you to believe it's not a reassuring start.
Oh, come now, mate. I'm terrible and you know it. You pulling one over on me is payback.
I'm being serious, my friend. It is a challenging pursuit requiring a dedicated state of mind. The progress shall come. You shall discover what I mean.
I hope you're right.
Sounding better. The interval between letting me press the button is much longer now, though.
Okay. Decent.
Your music playing has improved substantially. Perhaps in time you shall surpass my own abilities.
I highly doubt that, mate, though thanks for noticing. Creating music's quite rewarding once you get the hang of it.
It's almost everything to me, my friend.
Phew.
Hey, that's sounding really good. And also very long interval. There we go. You're getting really good at the Zag.
I must commend you on the most splendid lyre playing emanating from your bedchambers, my friend. It seems we have a second court musician now.
Thank you for encouraging me to give it a shot, mate. And for the kind words. Who am I to question fate? I'm no Orpheus, but I'm no slouch.
Hey. You ever play any music or sing or anything yourself, Hades kid? It's good for you, you know.
I play a bit of the lyre, as a matter of fact. Orpheus himself gave me some pointers on it. Never really tried singing, though. Can't even imagine it, really.
Again, it's funny because his voice actor is Orpheus' singing voice and music composer for this game.
Well, might I recommend giving it a shot at some point? Who knows? You might be the next Orpheus.
Okay, let's repair the sigil.
House contractor, with this gift of darkness, I decree the eldest sigil shall be restored.
You waste your time. The sigil shall never work for you.
But it's not for me.
Very thoughtful, child.
Yay, Nyx!
I have detected some unusual activity within the reaches of the underworld, son of Hades. Vast sums of darkness collected in an ancient catalyst, which I see now almost like a beacon shining in the night. This either is the work of Nyx, or you, or both. And I am anticipating the result.
At last, the bridge to chaos is restored. Thank you so very much, my child. I shall be going then, and I shall presently return. Please have no fear. And now, farewell. I shall bring Chaos your kindest regards.
Please do. Until next time, Nyx. Wanted to ask you more about Nyx and Chaos, sir. So they just drifted apart? I mean, why not just keep in touch? I don't understand. How hard is it just to say hello from time to time?
It can be harder than you know. For someone like Nyx, she was responsible for no small part of creation herself. As her relationship with Chaos grew more strained, she gave birth to strife, misery, doom, sons and daughters you don't hear about too much.
What, really? I've never heard Hypnos or Thanatos mention any of them, let alone Nyx. They sound like a handful. Where are they? What happened?
I don't know, lad. On the surface, I suppose. My point is, Nyx had her own problems to contend with. Dealing with her brood, governing the underworld all on her own before your father arrived. Her relationship with Chaos suffered for it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, so this is what the Sigil of Night looks like once I've activated it, by the way. The first time I came in here, Zagreus just kind of mentioned, oh, so this is what Nyx can use now. Looks a little ominous.
Nyx, you're here.
I thank you for this, child. My greetings to you, child. How unusual that we should come in contact here. Chaos and I had quite a bit of catching up to do. Please go about your business, and I shall see you back inside the house in time. Provided you return there, of course. And thank you for this once again.
It was my pleasure. Take care of each other.
You're welcome, Nyx.
It pleases me immensely, son of Hades, to have seen the goddess Nyx again. It's a significant amount of time that has elapsed since last this happened, both sufficiently old pains, I think. Thus it becomes a basis on which our connection may, in time, take shape again.
Nyx, this was the least I could do. This is the greatest delicacy of Olympus, Master Chaos. It's for you. I think normally it would be difficult for the Olympians to get it to you here.
You make an even greater offering to me, knowing it shall produce no material result. You are aware that I am not persuadable. Yours is a squandering of resources and time. Although, of course, we do have each of these in great supply. Now then, respond.
I just think the act of giving isn't quite the same as an exchange. I know I won't be getting any sort of other talisman or something in return, but through these offerings, I can express my thanks. That's worth it by itself.
I see. So then the action is akin to theft. For you are getting something in return that I did not intend to give. I still have much to learn from my creations, son of Hades. So let us say that we have made an even trade. My learning for your worth.
That's an interesting perspective you got there, Chaos.
If you'll forgive me, Master Chaos, this ambrosia is intended to be given to those whom I care about, and I can think of few recipients I'd like to have it more. Please.
I shall accept this as a final offering, O son of Hades. For I have given it additional consideration and decided that my previous analysis of your intentions was too narrow, too inaccurate, and I regret comparing what you have been doing to an act of theft. Respond.
I like how it's like, respond? Question mark?
Don't even mention it, please, Master Chaos. All of this is new for me as well. I try never to overanalyze. My father does enough of that for all of us. I just know when I encounter the primordial creator, I'm going to give thanks. For everything.
I see. Then your response is quite acceptable. And since the act of giving is not an exchange, let us say that you already had my gratitude.
Nyx, you're back. So, how did things with Chaos go? Please tell me it went well.
It did. It did go well, my child. I appreciated having had a chance to reconnect with my great ancestor. Thanks to your generosity. To both of us. We had to make up for a great deal of lost time.
So what happens now? You're back on speaking terms, then Does it mean Chaos will stop by for a visit soon? Something like that?
Chaos is comfortable in their realm. I may, however, visit every now and then, keep them apprised of what unfolds up here. Beyond that, Chaos knows better than to exert too much influence upon this realm, beyond having already formulated it and everything.
I see. Well, take care of each other, please.
Yay, now I can start giving her ambrosia.
Nyx, if you'll forgive me this transgression for a moment, I would like for you to have this vintage bottle of ambrosia, please. You can hand it off to Megaera as contraband, but just in case, I wanted you to have it first.
Ah, a crystal bottle come all the way from the highest peaks of Mount Olympus to these depths within the earth. Your father always said he hated it.
I like how we keep saying how the ambrosia nectar is like contraband, and yet Zagreus is still doling it out to everyone and they're just accepting it and drinking it.
Though father does have questionable taste.
I accept this gift with gratitude. This is a delicacy I have not experienced myself. Perhaps I may yet save it for appropriate occasions still to come. Thank you, my child.
Aw, she laughed.
By the way, I meant to tell you, child. The ambrosia that you gave me? Rather than hold on to it indefinitely, I decided recently to sample it. Your father's claims about its flavor are quite false. I have never tasted anything like it.
So glad you liked it, Nyx. And good timing too, because I have for you another bottle here. They say each one is different in its own respect. And besides, the pleasures of Olympus should be shared. Please take it, won't you?
You are persuasive like your mother and determined like your father, child. But if you so insist, then I shall not deny myself the simple pleasures of this drink, though rare is the occasion for it here.
That's quite all right. It never spoils, and you have all the time in the world.
I sense your consternation, son Hades, as you look about this space. You have another question, and are free to ask.
Oh, it's just... I sometimes wonder, Master Chaos, if you created all of this, then who created you? What was this place before you arrived?
Wow, we're getting deep here.
All of this simply came to be, and so did I, presumably after a former time had finally reached its end. I hesitate to say it was an act of will. It was more like a sudden shift, as when a conflagration happens from a spark. I arrived at such a time, and all else then arrived from me. You may have wondered, son of Hades, how it is you came to find me in this space, and I have gone unseen by most for quite some time. I have wondered this as well, and think that our connection to Goddess Nyx is the most likely answer. You expire and then suddenly return to life within your father's residence. Perhaps it is akin to when I first gained consciousness so long ago. Perhaps I too had just expired only to reawaken.
Nyx, along with giving you this bottle of ambrosia here, there's something I've meant to say to you. The three fates have been very kind to me, because in denying me my birth mother, they gave me you. Without your steady presence here, I can't imagine what it would be like.
Oh, then the three fates are whimsical indeed. When you were born, and I was filled with fear for what it meant for you to be alive, to be responsible for you. I must admit, I did not guess that one evening you would provide for me both such a gift and such a sentiment.
Well, I mean every word. I love you, Nyx.
Aww.
I love you too, my child.
Aww. Thanks, Mom.
My daughter, the goddess Nyx. I learned the Olympians mistakenly assumed she was your mother. I did not fully consider the possibility that she essentially was a mother to you. The technicality of birth aside, she cares for you to the extent a mother can.
I knew you.
Our work is never done.
Nyx told me that you helped her reconnect with her parent after a long, long time. That was very kind of you. She never asks for anything. But we all owe her a lot, don't we?
I think so. If not for her, I can't even imagine, really. Did Nyx ever speak to you of chaos before I was born?
Not really, no. Nyx is very private when it comes to personal matters. But she has feelings and desires, same as anybody. Well, mostly. But the point is, I know this meant a lot to her.
Least I could do.
Lad, I heard from Nyx. She said that she was able recently to re-establish contact with Chaos, thanks to you. You're just full of surprises. Reforging old bonds between primordial gods like it was nothing.
Oh, just took a bit of tampering with the sigil in the admin chamber. Whole bunch of darkness, too. But I could tell that Nyx and Chaos, they seem to really miss each other, to the extent they are able to miss anybody.
I think they're plenty capable of missing their loved ones, lad. The amount of time that either of us have existed is nothing compared to either of them. Imagine being apart from someone you care about for that long.
I couldn't stand it.
Prior to your intervention, son Hades, I expected that the goddess Nyx had forgotten about me, whether purposefully or from passage of time. I believed that to be forgotten was the one true inevitability. Perhaps, however, I was incorrect. I find that it is difficult maintaining my connection with many consciousnesses, such as yours and that of the goddess Nyx. Yet I am also finding that this difficulty is fully warranted. Our connections give me much to consider as I await our next exchange.
How are you and Chaos getting on lately, Nyx? Sounds like they expected an awful lot from you before. That you should shine as bright as day, something like that. I can't imagine.
To shine was never quite my strongest suit. During the dawn of creation, there was much to do. This place, all that you see around you, it was more my leaning. Chaos understands that better now. As for me, the work helped me to know which limits I have.
What limits are those? You seem capable of anything. Probably even shining bright.
Come, child. We each have our limits.
Not me.
What is it, Zag? Mother Nyx told me you restored the eldest sigil, Zagreus. I couldn't believe that was your doing. What you did, it meant a lot to her.
It was my pleasure. Say, did Nyx ever let on to you of her relationship with Chaos at any point?
No, not everyone is quite as sharing as you are, Zag. Nor as inclined to pry. But still, in this case, sounds like it worked out. So thank you, if she hasn't said as much.
Least I could do for all she's done for me.
Well, well.
I have to tell you, Sisyphus, sometimes I wish I knew more about your past. You must have been a great king.
Well, the thing is that I wasn't, Highness. And that's not modesty from me, all right? All behind me now, and I'd appreciate it if we left it at that.
I hear you, sir. Though whatever you did in your mortal days, you've since more than paid for it, I'm sure. Wait, is that why you're still here in Tartarus? Because you think you deserve this?
It's more like this is where I belong, where my path has taken me, you know? Here in the underworld, you can't entirely escape your past, and yet it's like you get another life to live, with all the wisdom that you picked up along the way. Aren't you a sight? Hey, Prince, I heard you showed that Fury sister the what for. Is that the truth? Might explain why I've been left here to my own devices for a change.
I don't think she'll be out of commission for very long. She'd best find you mining that boulder, though at least you managed to catch a break for now. Be seeing you, Sisyphus. I have to ask you for a favor, Meg, and I'm willing to make it worth your while if you'll hear me out.
A proposition, Zagreus. Let's hear it then, while I'm in a charitable mood.
It's about Sisyphus. If I can get my father to alleviate his sentence, would you just ease off of him a little bit? You and your sisters. I think he's suffered quite enough under your whips.
I don't know what you see in him, I swear. But you don't need to ask such things of me. If you can overturn his sentence with Lord Hades, I'd like nothing better than to never see that miserable shade again.
It's a deal.
Excellent work.
Nyx, I was just busy doing some administrative chamber record keeping recently, and wouldn't you know it, it somehow slipped my mind where I could find the sentencing parchment work for the knave king Sisyphus, forced to toil out in Tartarus. I ran it by Megaera.
He has offered you aid repeatedly. At first I saw it for a brazen act of bribery, but try as I might, there was no deeper underpinning to his actions that I could detect. That is to say, the records you seek may be found in section Sigma Phi Alpha, lower gamma folder.
Sigma Phi Alpha, lower gamma folder. Got it. Thanks. Should check that stack of contracts back there.
Ah, yes, here it is.
Amongst the parchment records of the dead and punished are the sealed documents known as the Knave King's sentence, forcing said king to endlessly toil with a boulder till the end of time.
I'll just patch this through to the house contractor then.
So now we can free Sisyphus.
In the name of Hades, I hereby release Sisyphus from the terms of his pact.
You what? All this just for that wretched shade?
Baldy, look who.
I have good news, sir. I located the contract binding you and bought it out. It's null and void. You're free to go.
Oh, indeed. Then does this mean, Prince, then the Fury sisters, they won't come around as often anymore?
Oh, so Sisyphus didn't even really find out until I came and told him.
Not just that, Sisyphus. You can make your way someplace else where other decent shades reside. You know, somewhere with fewer chains and torture devices and such.
You're much too kind to this old soul, Prince Zed. The thing is, this is home. For me and Baldy, it is what it is. Though, knowing that the Furies won't be visiting with quite their former regularity, that is a load off. Heavier than Baldy there.
You mean you're really going to stay, even though you don't have to?
Is that so odd, Highness? Don't see myself logging old Baldy out of here besides. And if I were to leave, why, we would not be having these exchanges now and then. I happen to enjoy them quite a bit. Now, here you go, and thank you very much. Here you are.
Aw, so he wants to stay here with Baldy. I mean, it's not all bad. I mean, sure, there's like torture things hanging from the ceiling, but I mean, you're in the underworld, so it's not like you could really find yourself a better place. I mean, people are just hanging out around here. They're just milling about, and if no one's gonna come attack him, then I guess we're all good, right? Plus, it means that as a game mechanic, that means I can continue to see him, right? You look happy too, Baldy, right? See ya, Sisyphus.
Do tell the Furies I said.
Was bound to happen, really. I guess Sisyphus is even freer than before.
Perfect timing.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I can finally give him ambrosia and get a chthonic companion from him.
Sisyphus, sir. You've helped me selflessly time after time without so much as asking anything in return. Wanted to say I'm very grateful and thought you might like to try this. Here for a special occasion.
Why, Prince, is this? It is. I've not so much as seen a bottle of it, much less sampled it. Thank you so much. Although, with all respect, I cannot rightfully accept such a fine gift. Unless...
Unless? Oh no, you're not making me take something in return. You know this was a gift, not an exchange, sir, right? Wait, what is that?
Zagreus is like, no, you don't have to give me anything. Wait a second. Is that a chthonic companion? I love those things.
This, Highness, is a little friend of mine kept tucked away in Baldy's care. Wherever you'll be going next, he'll make a worthy traveling companion. And when he's with you, Baldy and I will be with you in spirit too.
I almost feel bad for Sisyphus just because, unlike a lot of the other characters, he doesn't have a lot of connections with other NPCs in this game besides like Meg, which is not a positive connection. He just has Boldy, but poor Boldy doesn't talk. I mean, it's like he's kind of spent so long down here, he's been a little bit delusional and is doing the castaway volleyball thing with Boldy, but he's such a nice guy.
Sir, this is a mint-condition shady you just gave to me. I'm so grateful. I will keep him safe.
Mint condition? I like how Zagreus talks about these things like as if they're collectibles. Like these things, he knows that they exist. They have already been out in the world. They are collector's items, yet his friends just happen to have them all, giving them to... I mean, they're so cute.
Go, Sisyphus.
Now you two.
Was that a boulder from the blasted sky?
Oh, I missed. But I got some items.
Vast riches. Hello.
If there's anyone in all the underworld who owes you Zagreus, it's your friend Sisyphus. He would be much worse off if not for you.
What, because I've been distracting you from administering lashings like before? I hate to think you prefer to whip with no fear of reprisal whatsoever, Meg.
Dereliction of duty and fear of reprisal are not one and the same. Though you don't seem to be concerned with either one.
Look who.
Hey, sir.
Prince, that vintage ambrosia bottle that you gave me, that was the greatest thing I ever tried, I think. Even Boldy enjoyed the stuff.
You gave it to a rock?
I thought you'd like it, sir. And so I'm pleased to offer you another. Almost a shame we seldom get such imports from Olympus around here.
Oh, look what the prince has brought for us, Boldy. Perhaps someday we'll have a chance to share some between us.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Well, if it isn't you...
Okay, gosh, Sisyphus, I've been looking for you forever. Like, the last, 6 or 7 runs, I have not run into him, and I keep running into Eurydice and Patroclus, and not Sisyphus. And he is literally one of the last people I need to give ambrosia to. I just need to give him one, and he's been avoiding me. Come on, Sisyphus. Anyways, here you go.
All this for someone such as me? You know I'm down here for a reason, don't you, Prince? Not just because your father and good Thanatos don't care for me. Yet, from the very first, you showed me decency I'd not experienced since I was a king. Perhaps not even then.
Whoever it was you used to be, sir, I believe you've changed. And I'm proud to say that you're my friend. And Boldy there as well. It's odd for me to say, but I'm glad you're here. I think I've learned a lot from you about all this.
Well, Your Highness, I'm honored very much indeed. And having you amongst my list of friends makes it perhaps the greatest such a list a fellow such as I has ever had. Isn't that right, Boldy?
I like how Zagreus didn't forget to include Boldy in his sentence about saying that they're friends. Aw, look at that smile.
Take it from me, Prince Ed. Boldy concurs.
You guys are great.
Yay, all Sisyphus and Boldy.
Prince Ed, it seems you brought my little shady back to visit me. How very kind. And I can tell he's in good care of late.
He is, sir, and I'm grateful once again to have adopted him. You sure you don't want him back, though? Always seems like you could use a friend.
All due respect, Highness, but I've the best friend anyone can ask for to my right just there. And as for little Shady, he was more inclined than I to see the farthest reaches of the underworld. Safe travels to you both. I got you covered, Prince.
Thanks, Boldy. Here, why don't you have a nectar? It's been a while.
You know, I think I'm growing more accustomed to relating to a giant stone. Good chat.
Thanks.
On behalf of Boldy there.
Hey, another heart of stone. You believe in Boldy and Boldy believes in you. Extra cast damage. Thanks, Boldy. Thanks, us.
Bye now. Well, well.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Prince Ed, I heard the strangest rumor. Here's the thing, I'll give it to you straight. I have heard you've been consorting both with Megaera the Fury and with that old stiff Thanatos. Can you believe it?
Don't call him an old stiff. Come on, Sisyphus, you were cool.
Sisyphus, I don't know where you heard that, but it's true. They're just doing their jobs, and I know how it looks, but you're my friend as well, and I don't want you to forget that.
Look, I do appreciate the sentiment, Your Highness. I'm just surprised. I thought we shared a common foe in them is all. What can I say? I hope that someday I can see them how you see them.
Thank you for understanding, sir. Besides, maybe I can get them to cut you some slack.
I mean, it's not like Thanatos does anything to you, right? It's just Meg and her sisters, and I already wrote off your contract. Correct?
Caught me on a break again.
I thought you're always on a break, since I freed you.
I will have you know, Prince, that your visits here have become a very important part of my routine.
And what routine is that exactly, sir?
Why, the routine of looking forward, of course. I try to appreciate the moment as much as anybody, but, you know, it's always nice having something to look forward to. So, see you next time then.
Okay, you looked forward to me coming, said hi really quickly, and then bye, and then look forward to the next time.
Hey, hey.
Hello, sir. Sisyphus, I have to be upfront with you. The Fury Megaera and Thanatos. I know you're not exactly on the best of terms with either one of them, but they're both close to me. You won't hold it against me, sir, will you?
Look, Prince, it's not for me to judge you or your friends. The Fury sisters, Master Thanatos, we got off on the wrong foot, you could say. My fault entirely. I'd sooner make sure that our correspondence here doesn't make those relationships more difficult.
Don't even say that, sir. I think Meg and Than know me better than that by now. Well, thanks for understanding, as always.
So what happened between Thanatos and Sisyphus? I know Meg has been the one, like, tormenting him, but maybe I need to look more into Sisyphus' backstory.
Certainly, Highness. And who knows? Perhaps as you spend more time together, some of your finer qualities will rub off on those two. Aren't you a sight?
Hey, sir.
Ah, there you are, Prince. I was just thinking about how grateful I am that you got me out of that contract with your father. It's been a real weight off my shoulders, truth be told.
You never seemed particularly concerned, even before, sir. Must say, you're very good at hiding your worries.
And I could say the same to you. Look, I know you were concerned for my well-being. Now you don't have to be. And I'll still be around to help you out. Good feeling, isn't it?
Than, you don't hold a grudge against old Sisyphus, do you? He seems rather apprehensive about you. I understand you met not on the best of terms.
He is a brazen one, I have to give him that. I hadn't realized that you were close. Despite some questionable choices on your part, I don't think you're the poorest judge of character. And so, maybe I have him wrong.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting, because Sisyphus, when he cheated death, he also, like, tricked Thanatos. That's why Thanatos and him got off on the wrong foot. I don't know why I forgot that. For some reason I thought it was just Sisyphus and Hades.
I only have a faint impression of the man he used to be, although it seems he's changed a lot since then. Thank you for understanding anyway.
Why, look who's here, Baldy.
Sisyphus, I'd meant to ask, where are you getting all this stuff you give to me? You must be pretty well connected around here.
Oh well, you know, I have acquaintances amongst the locals here. Try to be neighborly with everyone is all. It's not just Baldy and myself, as you can see. Sometimes I come across things that would be better off in other hands than mine. Just on a little break. Not working yourself too hard of late, are you, Prince Zed? Remembering to take some breaks from time to time and all?
I think I'm managing, thanks, sir. Though, back when you pushed Baldy rather than talk to him, I suppose you didn't have much of a choice, did you?
Well, it was work, you know? Even your father has to work. Of course, I've since retired. But it seems you and he like to keep yourselves occupied. Whatever makes you feel content.
I heard you stayed the Knave King's sentence. I should be angry with you. Sisyphus must be the only mortal ever to have humiliated me. But Mother Nyx, she must have backed you, didn't she?
We did what needed to be done. As much as Father likes making examples out of wretched shades, an eternal sentence felt a little excessive in this case. Besides, Sisyphus isn't leaving anyway. Seems to have found his niche.
Oh? Well, he's an odd one, through and through, I guess. As long as I don't have to deal with him again.
Don't think you will.
You would be wise to heed my words next time, and fear the consequences of eluding me. Death can be most unpleasant, as I'm sure you know.
Well, that's just it, Master Thanatos. I never was terribly fearful of you gods, if you'll forgive my saying so. Far as I can tell, all of you seem to have your struggles much like mortals do. A fear of death aside.
What would you know of the struggles of gods? Now you have eternity to think on what you've done. Maybe I'll check again with you after another eon or two, see if you've learned anything more.
See you, Than.
Hello.
Hey, sir.
Prince Ed, just missed your stern-faced colleague. Feel that stillness hanging in the air? Sounds like he won't be checking up on me again anytime soon.
Thanatos really isn't such a bad sort once you get to know him, sir. Though I suppose you'll have to take my word for that.
Oh, I believe it, Highness. I should think that bringing death must be a lonely job. Perhaps you ought to try pushing a boulder sometime.
Yeah, Thanatos should get ripped.
Ahoy there.
Sisyphus, sir, have you any idea how Shady works? I'm able to just whisk both you and Boldy out of here and to my aid? It must be awfully disorienting.
Well, Prince, I told you that we'd be with you in spirit, didn't I? It's not just Shady's power, I suppose, nor is it Boldy's or my hidden strength. It's testament to our companionship is all. You gods are capable of anything.
So then, like, it's implied that the theory is it's Zagreus' power that allows him to summon people using these companions.
Your Highness.
Hello.
Must say, Prince Ed, the free life sure does have its perks down here. This place really isn't as bad as it's cracked up to be.
Glad to hear it, sir. But you're still here, the same as ever. Is it really all that different from the way it always was?
Well, it used to be I'd have to start heaving Boldy there at any point if the Fury Sisters decided to show up. But now, I just get to relax, chat a bit with the other shades, and give you one of these when you're in the area. He's back again, Boldy. You must have seen everything there is to see here in your father's underworld, haven't you, Prince? I figure that there isn't any place nicer than this.
Oh, well, I suppose now that you're free, you could always see for yourself. It's pretty different as soon as you reach Asphodel. Don't you have some place or somebody you'd like to see?
I'll take what's coming to me right here, thank you very much. You're the wayfaring sort, but my wayfaring days are over. It's hard to explain, but this is a much-needed fresh start for me.
Skillfully executed work.
I waived the punishment sentence for Sisyphus the Knave King, Nyx, except he chose to stay. He chose to stay in Tartarus, I think in part because he likes getting to speak with me from time to time. Also his bolder friend.
That sounds to be an agreeable outcome for him. Though his liberty is not the end of his rehabilitation. As his friend, please make certain he does not run afoul again of your father, child.
I'll look out for him. He certainly looked out for me. I know that it's a painful subject, sir, but can you tell me what exactly happened in the war that claimed Patroclus and yourself? He brought it up. Said you refused to fight.
So I'm still talking with Achilles about Patroclus, so that must mean that I still have more dialogue to see before I unlock them at the house contractor, right? Even though I got both of them to 6 hearts like really long ago.
Until he died. I did refuse to fight until he died. But at that point... Look, lad. If we're going to discuss these matters, best we do so in the lounge, not here.
But there's more people over in the lounge. Wouldn't more people overhear you? Good thing I prettied this place up.
The fool of a king I served. I'd never take up arms for him. But Patroclus, he always had a different way of looking at things. As I refused to fight, he rose to the occasion. Took up my armor, led my brothers into battle in my guise. Fought nobly. But then he... well...
And after you found out, you sought vengeance for him. Took vengeance.
That I did. They got me finally, of course. But not before I broke them first. The war soon ended after that. It is an awful contradiction that to quickly end war, one need only extinguish many lives at once. I had not realized it at the time.
Did you allow yourself to die so that you could see Patroclus again here?
I don't know. Maybe. I only know that I was filled with rage. Rage that subsided soon after I arrived here. I felt empty. I never saw Patroclus again. But I learned my brothers honored my last request, as my ashes were laid to rest with his. Anyway, appreciate the drink.
You can't just end the conversation like that. But I mean, it must be kind of, in a way, nice knowing that in this world they knew that there's like an underworld and something after death. Because of course in our world we don't know, right? If you want to reunite with someone after death, there's really no guarantee about that. In fact, I don't think it's likely.
Suppose I'd best be getting back to standing quietly about. Though that war, lad. Don't ask me about it again. All right?
Of course. Achilles, now that I have access to the administrative area again, I've access to the archives, and I have some authority to void those under certain circumstances. So about your pact.
I know you mean well, lad. And from the bottom of my heart, where once it was, I thank you truly for the thought. However, don't exert your influence on this. Not now, at least. The fates can twist intentions. I don't want to take the risk.
You're sure? Well then, I'll wait. But I am going to ask you again. We have to find a way to fix this. Patroclus is waiting.
Oh man, how many more runs do I have to do to get them reunited together? I want them back together.
Is this how you decided to repay me? Why, you must think that I abandoned you and lied to you.
A question, if you don't mind, stranger. Because I've had one nagging at me since we last discussed the subject. What exactly happened to Achilles, can you say? After I died, that is. I've heard the rumors, but I don't trust any of this boastful lot.
Well, from what I gathered, sir, after you fell, he was overcome with grief and anger. He joined the war just like you urged, and single-handedly he almost ended it.
So then, he threw away his life. Soon enough after I lost mine. Yet despite vanquishing an army on his own, he wound up in the lowest pits of Tartarus. Instead of here, among the great.
You should know, sir. You were buried together. Your ashes, that is. It was his final request. As for how he came to be at my father's house, that's something I think he can best explain. And I will do everything I can to make sure that he has the opportunity.
You know, like, I know Elysium is considered better than Tartarus, because that's where the champions go. And Tartarus kind of sucks, but Achilles is not just in Tartarus, he's at the House of Hades. I think being at the House of Hades is better than being in Elysium, because you have people that you can talk with, right, and do stuff with. Although, they probably do that in Elysium too, we just don't see it on screen.
Our ashes, you say? Together? The fool. We could have lived, not been reduced to meal for the worms, but I appreciate the information, stranger. Now, please go.
What qualifies a man to his eternity in so-called
Forgive me, stranger, for, in retrospect, I was too terse after you told me what became of my Achilles. Tales of his climactic battle I had heard. The stuff about his ashes and my own, that was all new.
No need to even ask forgiveness, sir. Achilles is one of my closest friends, but he doesn't care to talk about himself, about those times. It must be very painful for the both of you.
Oh, we've all seen our share of pain by now. But knowing that he cared for me in the end, after the end, it dulls the feeling of it for a bit. As do these conversations, I guess.
Aw, I'm always here for you, Patroclus.
just as well as anyone who could have ended it.
Whatever happened with that war you mentioned, sir? If you don't mind my asking.
Well, truth be told here, stranger, I do mind. You speak as one who's not experienced a war. Those of us who survived, well, you know what I mean. We do bear some responsibility to history. But all the same, it's not a time and place to which I would return. I trust you'll understand.
Hail, Prince. How is he anyway, if you've encountered him of late during your journeys, lad? The fallen warrior you've run into in Elysium, that is.
He's doing relatively well, I think. There's a lot you've told me that he didn't know. About what led up to his present circumstances and your own.
You told him then? Without requesting my consent to tell him first? What exactly did you say to him?
Oh no. Are you mad at me, Achilles?
Achilles, I'm sorry. I just told him about your ashes being intermingled, that whole thing, and about the pact. You told me once to send him your love and regards. This brought him no joy, only questions. You told me not to speak to father, not to him.
You're right, I should have specified. Or shouldn't have. Because what you said probably is for the best. I didn't mean to lose my temper with you, lad, it's just... Look, thank you for looking out for him. For both of us. Just, please be careful.
Like how he's like, I didn't mean to lose my temper, and I could tell he was cross by the way he was saying it, but that was not losing your temper. My father is Hades, I know what losing your temper looks like.
I swear I will.
Where did you go? What? But anyway, I've meant to ask you something, stranger. Would you mind doing me a favor, please? If it happens to come up along your path. Suppose I ought to tell it to you first, prior to asking a response.
No, of course, sir. What is it? What's on your mind?
If I know my Achilles, then he's being rather guarded when it comes to this predicament we're in. How can somebody be so brash, yet hate to take unnecessary risks? Just let him know I said to risk it all.
Risk it all? Risk what all? He wants what's best for you. He wouldn't want anything to happen.
It's already long since happened. I dare say that right now, provided what you said is true, then it appears we've more to gain than lose. Is it fear for the weak?
I always wondered, sir, what was Achilles like? During his youth, I mean, if you can say.
How to describe what somebody was like? Everyone who saw him on the battlefield agreed he was magnificent, stranger. His allies and his enemies alike. But there was more to him, I think. A certain outlook. A sense of justice. I knew him before he was a warrior. Only reason I suppose I liked him.
Prince.
I have a message for you from the fallen warrior over in Elysium, Achilles, sir. He simply said to let you know to risk it all.
To risk it all? He said to risk it all?
Yes. Is there something significant about that phrase?
When last he said to risk it all to me, I didn't listen to him then, but should have. I should have.
He's asking you to take another chance.
No. He's giving me another chance, I think. Leave me, lad, for now. Thank you for telling me. A word, Prince? I need your help with something, lad. As I'm about to risk it all, I think. Will you hear me out?
Of course, sir. What is it? I'm listening.
The pact I signed with your father. It must be buried somewhere down in the administrative chamber there. I dared not ask that you locate it. Out of fear that tampering with it would only make things worse, except
that fear is for the weak, Achilles, sir.
Indeed. Besides, your father has been more abiding than I expected with how you were able to nullify the terms for Orpheus and Sisyphus alike, so perhaps my case isn't a lost cause yet.
Oh, so did I need to free Orpheus and Sisyphus in order to unlock this quest, and that's why it took forever? Or is he just saying that because I happen to have already done it? Because man, this one took so long to get to. And I'm glad. I'm glad for getting to it because I really want to see Achilles happy.
I'll speak with Nyx about it the next chance I get. And I'll be careful, sir. I promise you.
You have my thanks.
I happen to be looking into our security situation here, just running background checks, that sort of thing. And I was wondering if you could help me locate an old pact signed by Achilles. Nyx. It would mean a lot. Not just to him, but me.
I like how his voice got softer towards the end of that sentence. Like, he was trying to, like, make an excuse, and he's like, nah, I can't fool Nyx. Let's just quietly tell her.
Achilles. We would struggle to put someone comparable in his role. Though, be that as it may. Epsilon Iota Theta, Rho Folter, middle, I believe. You are certain about this child?
Couldn't be more certain, Nyx. Should check the admin chamber for the pact Nyx mentioned.
Buried deep within the archives, holding many binding pacts between Lord Hades and the dead, resides an old agreement. In exchange for services from an extraordinary warrior, for eternity within Elysium, for his dear partner.
Should be able to approve a few revisions to that one with the house contractor, I think.
Let's reunite Achilles with Patroclus.
In the name of Hades, the shade of Achilles is hereby no longer barred from visiting Elysium.
Such leniency with binding pacts shall tarnish our good reputation at this rate.
Oh, don't be like that, Hades.
So what?
Oh, there you are, Highness.
Achilles, your pact with Father is officially amended, sir. Specifically, it no longer has any stipulation barring you from entering Elysium during the indefinite term of your employment. On my authority in the name of Hades. Thank you for your service.
What? Are you... You're serious? I'm able to go. You're right, I feel it. I'm unbound. So I can... simply leave, right?
You can simply leave, right now. And might I add, it's about damn time.
I should get going then, although I'm unprepared. I didn't think it would come to this. Not that I had no faith in you, it's just...
Incidentally, there's this one glade out in Elysium I highly recommend. Go to him, sir. You've waited long enough. Fear is for the weak.
So, like, whenever Orpheus goes out to visit Eurydice, like, how does he find her? Just, like, I think they said that Charon brings him there, right? So does Charon bring Achilles to Patroclus? Because, I mean, otherwise, how would he find him, right? I mean, Achilles is really strong, but the rooms are ever shifting, right?
Fear is for the weak. Farewell for now, lad. I can't thank you enough.
Farewell for now, sir.
Yay!
Who am I to question fate? May Achilles and Patroclus make up for lost time. Hey, that's a kid.
Well, not for you, pal. I don't even like to think about what I'd have done. War would have gone different.
Oh, he calls him Pat. That's cute.
Why, look who.
Hey, you two. Oh, look, you're standing this time, Patroclus.
I thought we might run into you, but how strange to see you face to face out here, lad. To see this place myself. I still can't quite believe any of this.
He really can't. Though I keep telling him it's true. Nothing's accomplished without risk, isn't that so? But we of course have you to thank, stranger. Our troubles needn't have been your concern.
Oh look, Patroclus has a new portrait. He's standing, and he's mirroring Achilles.
Nonsense, sir. You're my friend. And Achilles. I don't know where I would even be if not for you.
Well, no need to get emotional, is there? We Myrmidons, we're not the sentimental type. Achilles is simply on break, is all. From a demanding job. You've a demanding job as well, so here, my customary gift. All yours.
Take care, then.
Yay! Thanks, you two. Have fun. I'll see you around.
I saw Achilles with Patroclus in Elysium next. They're free to be together now, thanks to you. If only you could have seen them.
Oh, I can see them, my child, and I have. And it pleases me Achilles has earned some degree of respite from his servitude, for all his loyalty to our house. For what you have done for him, thank you.
Father isn't going to be thrilled I've let him out of a binding pact.
Your father is committed to his rules, and you released Achilles from his pact according to those rules. There is not much that even he can do about it, save to have Achilles sign again.
Don't see Achilles doing that anytime soon.
You altered one of my own pacts without so much as seeking my consent, undoing terms that were agreed upon. Do you intend to undermine everything in this house, boy? Or only me?
Only you, Father. Good thing I've inherited some of your fate-given authority, being your son and all. Otherwise, some of your most loyal subjects would be bound by exploitive terms for eternity.
Terms that they chose themselves. Terms to the benefit of this house. What if Achilles were to leave his post for the green pastures of Elysium? What then?
You could find a replacement, but it's a pointless question anyway because he's here. He isn't leaving. He might even do better at his job now that he has increased ability to step away from it.
A naive hope at best. The more you step away from your responsibilities, the less you shall want anything to do with them.
I don't think Achilles is that type of person.
Not if those responsibilities matter. Achilles. Sir, you're back. How was it in Elysium? Was everything all right?
It went well, lad. As well as I could have hoped. Better than I might have feared. Hey, don't take Patroclus calling you stranger personally, all right? He has less charitable terms for those he doesn't care for.
Come on, Achilles, I want details here. What happened with you two, if you don't mind?
Haha, well, thankfully, your efforts meant that no words really needed to be said when I arrived. He simply said my name. Then we just were. Two souls, together in one spot. The way shades linger. It looks mournful, right? But it isn't always.
That's wonderful to hear. He seemed uplifted in your presence. You must have lots of catching up to do.
Yeah, and Patroclus was actually standing up instead of sitting down.
Lots of making up for lost time. And finally we have some time to spare. It's odd, because so many of my memories of him are from a time of war. Now we can make new memories in peace. Anyway, see you out there again sometime, I hope.
Count on it, sir.
Yay! Now let's give him some ambrosia.
Achilles, next time you're in Elysium, I thought this might be something you'd enjoy. That you might share.
Ambrosia? Well, I'm honored, lad, truly. Although it's I who ought to be bestowing thoughtful gifts upon you for what you've done for me, not the other way around. And I happen to have one here, on Pat's and my behalf.
You have a chthonic companion, and you're giving it to me?
Yay! Zagreus finished his plushie collection. Now I have all the chthonic companions. Thanks, Achilles. Aw, look at the companion that Achilles got me. He's a little ant. That's so cute. Let's level him up too. I like him too.
Drink up, Antos. There. Antos, you're all set.
I summons wretches and...
Achilles! Your father won't like this.
Keep going.
Prince.
It's hard to think of anybody more deserving of this than you, sir. So when next you are off duty, or whenever the occasion warrants, please enjoy, all right?
I suppose this must be what it's like to be a god, lad. Being shown affection such as this. And getting offerings. Are you quite sure?
Oh, I'm absolutely positive. I would never have been remotely prepared for everything I've had to face if not for all your guidance. And I don't just mean the violent stuff.
Come now, lad. Admittedly, I was quite good at it, but I was nothing other than a killer. I would be wary of all my advice if I were you.
See, that's why you give such good advice right there.
Achilles, you're a good guy, and you're like my other dad.
Ah, you're here.
Hey, you two.
Well, if it isn't the ward of Achilles, come to visit us. I don't know how I can ever repay you, stranger. I'm quite sure that it isn't possible.
I reached more or less the same conclusion, Pat.
How about you just keep offering me those premium goods you had no interest in when I passed through, and we can call it even, sir?
That I had plans to do regardless, though if you should think of something else at any point, please do let either of us know. I want the way. Presiding over some
Here, sir. The drink of the gods themselves. Thought maybe you would like to try it. Just a small token of my appreciation for your selflessness with me time after time.
You'd give the precious gift of ambrosia to someone like me, stranger? A gloried thing like that? Why bother? I should be just another shade to you.
Well, you're not. You're someone I look forward to seeing here in Elysium, which is more than I can say for just about anybody else around here, so please, enjoy it. Perhaps with Achilles.
Well, perhaps I'll try. You're not so bad, you know that, stranger? Careful with that, or you'll undermine the ruthless reputation that you have. Achilles has returned to work for now, but waiting for him, knowing he'll return, rather than waiting for the sake of it, for nothing. Such a different feeling, stranger. I'd forgotten it entirely, I think.
I'm happy for the both of you. So, is everything all right then? The circumstances under which you were separated in life. It's unimaginable, really. How does one move on from a thing like that?
Anger fades, I guess, stranger. Even the famous anger of Achilles. Anger burns hot, then burns out. What's left is a dull ache, but underneath it, there was something else. It felt as though, well, I was still alive. That feeling, it's worth holding on
to. Here, sir. To you and to Patroclus. May the remainder of eternity more than make up for everything it took for you to come this far.
Oh, thank you, lad. Prince. Zagreus. You really oughtn't to have. In fact, I shall accept this from you once again, but not a bottle more.
Really? I mean, I meant no offense, of course. It's just, I thought you enjoyed this stuff, no?
We do enjoy it, quite a bit, in fact. But in Elysium, it's something to be earned more than accepted, and, well, perhaps in being there, a bit of our old pride is coming back.
Well, good. You have much to be proud of, Achilles. You're a great warrior, a great instructor, a great friend.
If indeed I've something to be proud of, lad, is that someone such as you can say a thing like that to me and mean it.
I mean it.
I think I see that look again, if I'm not mistaken in it, lad. What's on your mind? If you'd like to share, I'm listening.
Oh, it's just, sometimes I find my thoughts, they wander between those I care about. It's not just one. You mortals, typically you had a single suitor, did you not?
So we often told each other, yes. But you're not like us mortals, or us shades. Nor are most of the others here. You gods. I cannot think of even one who had a single mate. Although, your father, maybe he is one.
Wait, you're saying father? He was never with somebody else besides my mother?
Well, I of course don't know so very much about him, lad. But that's the way of it from what I've learned. You needn't follow in his footsteps, though. I think you know that well enough by now.
Who would have ever guessed that someday we would meet? It's you.
I don't see that last bottle of ambrosia anywhere, which I can only take to mean you need another. Here, sir. Thanks for seeing me through all of this, time after time.
You're thanking me, stranger. I've been here for some time, I think, and yet some of your customs, I'll admit, remain quite strange to me. You've done more for me than I've any right to expect from anyone.
It's just a bottle of ambrosia, sir. It's really no big deal. Okay, fine. It's rather difficult to come by, but still.
You jest, but I do not. I'd offer you my lifelong gratitude, but, well, you know.
You've got the rest of your life ahead of you as far as I'm concerned. Here's to starting anew, right? You can call me Zagreus, or Stranger, whatever suits you.
And I'm Patroclus, by the way. I'm realizing now we've not officially met. It's good to know you, Zagreus. Stranger. It's good to see you again, stranger. You don't mind if I keep calling you that, no? Couldn't find a better nickname for you, after all. Besides, I don't want to cause you any trouble.
Okay, we literally just went over each other's names like 2 seconds ago.
Don't mind at all, Patroclus, sir. Coming from you, I consider it a term of endearment.
You have my thanks for that. But it would seem we have a visitor.
Hello, lad.
Good. There you are, stranger. Settle something for us quickly, Would Achilles not make for the perfect champion of Elysium? For I think almost anybody would be better than the current one.
I think I'd rather maintain watch over a nearly empty hall than battle all the shades around here, Pat.
I too would vastly prefer having to contend with Theseus rather than yourself, Achilles. Although that's not to say I disagree that almost anybody would be better in the role than him.
It seems then I am overruled. But I know champion material when I see it, and I see it now. We've all the rest of time together now. The fates would, stranger. Achilles tells me that you're here to stay. At least for now, stranger. A welcome bit of news. Assuming, of course, that it's for the best for you.
I think so, sir. I'll still be passing through and visiting the surface every opportunity I get. But it seems my place really is here. Besides, it means getting to see you every now and then, like this.
That sounds agreeable to me. Then, you take care.
I cannot ever repay you for what you have done, O Knight. Know only that it is my honor to continue to serve at your pleasure here.
I am certain I know nothing of what you mean, Achilles. Though your continued service here is more than welcome. The honor is mine.
Thank you, O Knight.
The glade looks nice and orderly of late. Hello again. You ever been in love with someone, stranger? Might be a mortal's only thing for all I know. You gods have strange relationships, I hear.
I have been, sir. Or I should say I am.
Ah, that's good. Cling to the feeling, then. And if you lose it, reach for it. Search for it, no matter what, all right? Because without it, well, there isn't much of a comparison, I think.
Oh, Prince, I heard the news about Master Achilles. That's so great! I'm going to miss him being here as often as he used to, but I'm just so happy for him, and for you.
Me too, Dusa. The happy for him part, at any rate. He's a good friend, and he deserved much better than to be stuck here.
Woohoo!
Aww.
Achilles, sir. Timely and simple. Achilles!
It seems Achilles had a complicated arrangement with your father. I understand you simplified things for the better there, and he was able to visit Elysium at last. Well done.
Thank you. He more than deserved it.
I understand the terms of your employment have been altered in my name, Shade. Be grateful that you lack the standing for such changes to require my personal approval. Though you remain my employee, correct?
As far as I'm aware, yes, Master. I'm sworn eternally here to this house, except it seems I'm now at liberty to see Elysium from time to time. While off duty, of course.
How lenient do they make these pacts today? You are off duty now, is that not so? Go then. Take advantage of the added benefit.
Yes, Master. Thank you.
Sometimes the law is not so bad.
You found him after all? Because of Zag? That's How very fortunate for you, Shade.
Mistress, for certain it is more than I deserve. Although, perhaps it's for the best that a forgotten shade ought to be put out with the rest of them. I shall not cause you so much trouble then.
Well, if your journeys take you from this house, then you are nothing but a shade. And so there will be others, but take care, okay?
Of course, mistress. I shall. By your command.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so now see, she wants 2 ambrosias. I still have plenty, so it should be okay though. But I don't want to get Medusa up too high, so I don't want to get her to 10 hearts because I don't want to start a relationship with her. I think I'll just stick with Than, even though I know that you can have Than, Meg, and Dusa all at once, but I'll just keep her with 9 hearts.
Ambrosia isn't only for the gods, you know, Dusa. It's for anyone we really care about, so here, please enjoy this, or just add it to the lounger's stash, whatever suits you.
Oh, but you really mean that, huh? But you are the prince himself, and I'm just... Look, we both know I am just a floating monster head, and a custodian. I just don't understand. Why keep on being nice to me like this? I thought you'd never even talk to me.
Do they explain why I need to give her increasing amounts of ambrosia compared to everyone else, instead of just 1 each time?
You're so much more than what you said. I wish you could see that. If only everybody in this house had your spirit.
If only everybody in this house had yours, Prince Zagreus. You've been so kind to me, and I'm glad we've had a chance to get to know each other more. It's really nice sometimes, knowing somebody really cares about me here.
It should be more than sometimes that you feel that way as far as I'm concerned. I've never met anybody like you before. My father always told me not to smile quite as much, but you're like me.
What? Because I smile? Smiling's just a little something that I like to do to deal with the day. Though... Oh, that's what you meant. Oh, I see. Look, this is kind of a lot. I had better go. I'll cherish the ambrosia, though, okay?
Dusa, wait. I got you more ambrosia, Dusa, and I hope this is okay. I figure maybe you could use this for the lounge, special events, guests, that sort of thing.
I'm sorry that I flew away last time you brought me something like this, Prince. I mean, Zagreus. It's really strange for me to call you that. When I started here, they told me not to even speak with you, and now, here we are.
Well, look, if I listened to everything I was told, my life would be a lot different and a lot worse off, I think. So, who cares what anybody says? I enjoy your company.
And I enjoy yours, too. It wasn't long ago that I was just a lonely Gorgon head all by myself in the big underworld, looking for steady work. And then I heard about the opening here in your father's house. Well, I got it. It seemed too good to be real, and then there was you.
I remember when we first met. You were carrying 3 bowls for Cerberus and bumped right into me. It all went flying, but you cleaned up half of it before it hit the ground, and flew away before I got your name. I thought I'd never see you again.
I was so embarrassed. Worse, I thought I was done for here. But I got another chance. That was your doing, wasn't it? You've been looking out for me all this time. That's so sweet of you. I don't know how to thank you. I better put this ambrosia away for safekeeping, okay?
See you, Dusa. Ambrosia isn't only for the gods, you know, Dusa. It's for anyone we really care about, so here, please enjoy this, or just add it to the lounger's stash, whatever suits you.
Oh, but you really mean that, huh? But you are the prince himself, and I'm just... Look, we both know I am just a floating monster head, and a custodian. I just don't understand. Why keep on being nice to me like this? I thought you'd never even talk to me.
Do they explain why I need to give her increasing amounts of ambrosia compared to everyone else, instead of just 1 each time?
You're so much more than what you said. I wish you could see that. If only everybody in this house had your spirit.
If only everybody in this house had yours, Prince Zagreus. You've been so kind to me, and I'm glad we've had a chance to get to know each other more. It's really nice sometimes, knowing somebody really cares about me here.
It should be more than sometimes that you feel that way as far as I'm concerned. I've never met anybody like you before. My father always told me not to smile quite as much, but you're like me.
What? Because I smile? Smiling's just a little something that I like to do to deal with the day. Though... Oh. That's what you meant. Oh, I see. Look. This is kind of a lot. I had better go. I'll cherish the ambrosia, though, okay?
Dusa, wait. Dusa?
I'm here,
This isn't what we call
She's so cute, look at her.
Dusa, wherever did you get that feedy companion you gave me? You know how much that thing is worth? To me, at least. I don't know who collects those anymore, but I sure do.
Oh, I'm so glad you like her, Prince. I could think of no one better to take care of her. And best of all, she'll remind you of me. But as for where I got her, you're not gonna believe it. Can you guess?
Wait, you don't mean... No, not from Nyx herself. Did you... Wait, Dusa, you didn't... How to put this... Borrow her from Nyx, did you?
No. Happen to value my job here, among other aspects of my well-being, but after the lounge assignment, Nyx herself commended me and gave me feedy as a nice reward. Although, she probably knew I'd just end up giving her to you.
So after the lounge assignment, does that mean after having completed it? Because that means Dusa did not have feedy for very long, because I helped her out with that right afterwards, and then she gave it to me.
That's nice of her. Thank you again.
Dearest, if my perfectly developed senses are correct, then you appear to be quite smitten with the little Gorgon that you've met down there. Why, that must be adorable, if rather strange.
Dusa's just my friend, okay?
Hey, Dusa, this is kind of personal and you don't have to answer, but I have to know. So, did you used to have a body and all that? Because I've heard of Gorgons, well, that you had wings and such.
Prince, so, look, that's something very private that you're asking, and I know you don't mean any harm, but it just isn't something I discuss with anyone, okay? I'm who I am. Besides, as you can see, I don't need wings to fly.
Well, that was inconsiderate of me. Miss Dusa, I, wanted to apologize for when I pried about your past. I just wanted to get to know you better, but I was insensitive and I'm sorry.
Oh, Your Highness, Zagreus, come on. Don't even worry about it. I'd already forgotten. Really, no big deal. It's just the past me. It's as though it wasn't even me. This is me now. I'm glad I'm here.
And I'm glad too.
Okay, so after much consideration, I decided to go against my original plan and give Dusa some ambrosia to max out her heart level. I think because it ends amicably and doesn't end in romance, and it's just a one-time scene, I might as well do it. And I think I might need to do this in order to finish the Nyx and Dusa mini storyline together. So you know what? I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I was gonna stick to my guns, but you know what? I've completed pretty much everything else in this game by now. Getting close to the end. Might as well round out everything that I haven't done yet. So Here, Dusa, you get some ambrosia.
Dusa, I was thinking that this batch of ambrosia ought to hold the lounge over for quite a while. Keep things livelier for everyone. And please, take a bottle for yourself, won't you? As a token of my affection.
Oh, you said your affection, huh? Wow. I really like you also, Zagreus. I liked you from the start. You were so different from your father and Miss Nyx, I could just tell, but... Wait, what am I saying? I am such a dummy. You're just being friendly with me, right?
I would be more than that if it pleased you. You're very wonderful, and you light up this house. But I would never risk our friendship, so if this is where we draw the boundary, please, just let me know.
Wait. Did you just say I'm wonderful?
I did indeed. And I'm glad to get it off my chest, if you must know. Though, what about you? How do you feel?
I never thought you'd have those kinds of feelings for somebody like me. It's really nice to hear. It makes me feel complete. But, Zagreus, I don't know if I can be what you need. I mean, wait, you weren't just being nice to me for all this time because...
What? No, Dusa, of course not. Why is it so damn difficult to share one's feelings with somebody else? I don't want to ruin what we have. If only you could see what's in my heart.
Oh, I was just checking. Don't feel bad, okay? You don't seem capable of hiding what's in your heart. And I mean that in the best possible way. I'm so happy. It's just, all this is a lot, and I'm on duty right now, but see you soon.
See you soon.
That's a really tricky subject to broach. The whole, drawing the line between friendship and romance, but wanting to still continue with the friendship. Also, I can't remember if this happened for Than, but I thought that this would unlock her little bond forged icon in the top. Maybe I do have to wait for the bedroom scene after that to see what comes out of it. But, and another conversation between Zagreus and Achilles kind of comes to mind when I think about this. And for the sake of this video, I think the Achilles quote might come later than this, so you guys might not have seen it, but Achilles points out that it's pretty common amongst Greek gods and goddesses to have more than one significant other. It's very, very common that Achilles says he can't think of any gods that don't have more than one. And maybe that's just because that's the norm in Zagreus' head, so that's why he's able to so easily, share his feelings with Dusa and Meg, even though he's in, well, at least my Zag is in a relationship with Than at the moment. So, I don't know. That was just kind of interesting.
I had another question about your relationship to other Gorgons, Dusa. So, I notice you're not much for hissing, snake-like noises when you speak, and so on. Is that some sort of special Gorgon language or something?
No, not exactly, Prince. It's what it sounds like. Hiss. Just scary hissing, really. It takes some practice not to sound like that with a forked tongue. I really wanted to fit in. Hey, how about you? Always wondered how come you have a circus accent. Weren't you born here?
Oh, wait, me? I never gave it any thought. I guess it's from my father. He insisted that he'd teach me how to speak himself. Maybe it's in the blood.
Maybe it is.
A surface accent,
Nyx, did you really give Dusa quite possibly the sole surviving Epsilon Edition Chthonic companion in the entire underworld? She's very grateful for it. So much so that she entrusted Phoebe to my care. They grow in power that way, right?
The severed Gorgon head is not without redeeming attributes, my child. Though I expected this companion would soon find its way to you, the way the two of you have grown attached. Thus, in one action, both of you have found encouragement.
That's very calculating when you put it quite like that.
Yeah, Nyx, that's a little devious of you, don't you think?
It must be pretty handy being able to turn somebody into stone. Is that something you can just do whenever you please, like, I don't know, sticking out your tongue or something?
Not quite as easy as all that, but not so hard. You have to get yourself pretty already worked up, and picture what you're seeing like a, well, like a picture, really. And then, flip, stone statue. It's funny, I used to think everybody could do it.
Probably for the best that we cannot.
Zagreus, I wanted to talk some more if you're available. I mean, if you're free. I mean, if you have time to right now. Is that okay?
Of course, Dusa. Where should we chat? The lounge, or maybe somewhere more private?
Somewhere more private, please, if that's okay. Thank you. Zagreus, so ever since you told me you had feelings for me, it's been like my whole mind is on fire. I haven't been able to think straight or get anything done. It's all been so much.
I'm sorry, Dusa. I put a lot on you, and maybe I shouldn't have, since I'm the prince and everything, as you point out, and sometimes I forget myself. I'd never pressure you, it's just I thought you had these feelings for me too.
I do have feelings for you, silly. That's what I've been trying to tell you. It's just... It's just what? Whatever it is, it's okay. You can be yourself with me, Dusa, I promise. I'm glad you put it that way. I'm not looking for an intimate relationship. You're the kindest soul in this whole house, and I have learned so much from you. But when I really think about my feelings, I'm just not attracted to you in that way. I'm sorry. You're a really nice guy.
Oh, look, there's nothing to apologize for, not at all. In fact, all this is a relief. I've learned a lot from you too, and I cherish our friendship for what it is. Do you think that we could still be friends? Or is it better that you didn't see me anymore?
Don't say that! Though, I was going to ask you the same thing. I'd really like it if you'd be my friend. Though, my career comes first, so I don't want you doing any special favors. Promise me? I need to see how far I can get on my own.
I respect that so much, and yes, I promise to, sir. So, well then, friends? For all eternity?
Yes, friends. For all eternity. Now, I had better go. See you, okay?
Bye, Dusa.
See, that was such a respectful conversation. Like, I know a lot of people would say, oh, he got friend zoned, but, like, that was a mature conversation between adults who didn't have the same type of feelings for one another and decided to continue being friends. That's really admirable, and I think they did a great job of writing it that way.
That Dusa sure has quite the uplifting presence around here, doesn't she, Zagreus? Sometimes I see you chatting and it warms my heart.
She does. She's great, Mother.
Oh, hi. Hey, Zagreus, I wanted to talk to you again. What I mean is, I just hope I didn't hurt your feelings. Because if I did, you'd let me know, wouldn't you?
Dusa, please. Remember friends for all eternity? It's a long time, so there's no need for second guessing. I'm glad we had a chance to talk.
Oh, well, good. That's a relief to hear, but one last thing so I can clear my conscience of it. I've saved all the ambrosia that you gave me, and I figured since I didn't realize, the way you felt, I can be a little dense. I have it here, and I would like to give it back. Is that okay?
They still never explain why Dusa's ambrosia amount increases from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 for each subsequent gift, unlike any other character. Okay, so, like, normally, if I was Zagreus, I would say, no, keep it, I gave it to you. But I'm told that if you accept them, there's absolutely no downfall to it, you get them back, plus ambrosia is kind of hard to come across in this game, and I literally need just a handful more so I can completely upgrade all my companions. Unlike diamonds and Titan blood, which I can continually buy from Kiro in the last shop, I can't do that with ambrosia, although I can exchange things like Titan blood for ambrosia, although I'd rather not have to do that. So I'm going to accept, but in my heart, I am declining.
Look, if you don't want the ambrosia anymore, and receiving it made you feel uncomfortable in any way, I'll take it back. It was my gift to you to do with as you please. Are you sure you don't want it?
Yes, I'm sure. And thank you for your understanding, Prince. It really was quite sweet of you, but it's important that I learn to stock the lounge myself. So, here you go. And I will see you soon, okay?
Okay, everyone says that ambrosia is, like, illegal and stuff, and then but if she's supposed to be stocking the lounge with it, like, what's right and what's wrong?
Thanks.
Oh, hi!
Dusa, I can't shake this feeling, so I wanted to apologize to you, because I think when we first met, I don't think I took it the right way. I never had a fan before. I wanted to live up to your idea of me.
Oh, Prince, Zagreus, don't worry about that. Even I didn't know what I was going through. When I first started working here, I was just so impressed with you. I mean, you were the only one who would stand up to your father. I thought about you all the time.
But you didn't even know me yet. We didn't get to talking for what seemed like ages. You can be difficult to find, since I can't fly up to the rafters like you can.
Well, I'm so glad you kept trying to talk to me. If you hadn't, I'd probably be up in the rafters still, building up this idea of you that's not even as good as the real thing.
Oh, thank you, Dusa.
Aw, that's so wholesome. It's so easy to, like, worship someone like a celebrity and then lose sight of who they really are. And to want to live up to someone else's expectations of you is also very difficult, but this was a really sweet outcome. I'm glad I went through with it.
Oh, hi!
Hey, Dusa, something I was wondering, and it's just curiosity, mind you, but is there somebody else? I mean, somebody special whom you're close with or would like to be? Romantically, I mean, if it's alright to ask.
Oh, you can ask me anything. But, somebody else romantically. Not really, no. It's not really my thing. It doesn't mean I don't have feelings for you, though. You know that, right? I wouldn't drop what I'm doing and throw myself at danger for just anyone, you know.
I definitely know. There's 7 kinds of love or so, isn't that right? It isn't something that's taught extensively down here, though, so there's still a lot for me to learn, I guess.
Wow, I never thought of it as love until you said it there just now, Prince. But you're right. I love you, Zagreus. That feels good to come right out and say, you know? Okay, well, bye.
I love you too, Dusa.
Aw. Yeah, let's normalize telling your friends that you love them. Love doesn't always have to be in a romantically involved type of way.
Why, something's changed about the beating of your heart, dearest. Oh, it's the little Gorgon, isn't it? You underworld dwellers and your complicated feelings. I can never get enough. My blessings to the both of you then,
Hi!
Has your relationship with Nyx been lately, Dusa? She strikes me as a pretty intense supervisor. You getting on okay?
Oh, Miss Nyx? I'll do whatever she says. Why? Did she say something about me? She did. Oh, why would you be asking otherwise? Oh no, am I losing my job?
Hey, no, it's not like that. It's just a feeling that I've had from glimpses of the interactions that I've seen between you two. I haven't always got along with Nyx, but I know she cares deeply about this house and everyone in it, including you.
Well, that's nice to know. She cares about my work performance, that's for very sure, and I'm doing everything I can to live up to and exceed her expectations. Tell her that.
I may not use those exact words.
Lastly, Dusa, you are not permitted to address the prince unless first spoken to. You are invisible to him. Now, are we understood?
Aw, but Nyx, you're so nice to everyone else. I mean, let me talk to Dusa.
Yes, Miss Nyx. We're understood. I mean, I understand. I'll be going now.
Zagreus, say something.
Oh no. Dusa, I don't mean to upset you, but I'm worried you're going to burn yourself out if you keep pushing yourself past your limits. Are you sure you don't need a break?
I'm sure, Prince. This is my chance. I'm custodian of the House of Hades. I need to keep doing my best right now. Thanks so much for the nectar. Bye!
Please, take care of yourself. Meg, what's going on with Nyx and Dusa, do you know? I think they've been butting heads a bit lately.
I can't imagine why. Nyx has her under strict orders, yet you keep on stopping by for your little chats. You think she doesn't notice?
What does she care? I talk to everybody around here at least a bit.
It's not my business, Zag. Not even for Dusa, but you watch yourself.
How is this my fault?
The prince! Miss Nyx! I'm not supposed to talk to you. I have to go.
Damn it.
Dusa, are you okay? You sound like you're crying. Oh, it's not even giving me the option to give her ambrosia now.
Dusa, hey, what's the matter? You seem... Something's wrong. What happened? Tell me, please.
No, Your Highness, you're not supposed to talk to me. I mean, I'm not supposed to talk to you. You see, Miss Nyx, she... Oh, I will be in so much trouble now.
Wait, Dusa, slow down. What is the matter? Nyx really has forbidden you from even speaking with me. Do you know on what grounds?
I thought last time it was... I heard Nyx saying to Dusa, you are not to speak to him unless spoken to. So technically, isn't it okay because I'm starting the conversation?
I've no idea, Prince. Look, I really want to keep my job here, so I can't be seen with you right now like this. Please understand. I have to go, okay?
I need to talk to Nyx about all this.
What is it, child? I sense that your concern's of a different nature than it usually is. Yet it is veiled to me, somehow.
Oh, it's just... Please don't take this the wrong way, Nyx, but I was worried you were being rather harsh to Dusa. You asked her not to speak to me at all?
I asked she mind her own responsibilities. I fear she forgets herself in this house. Though you have an informal heir, you are the prince. The only son of the Lord Hades, fate-appointed master of this realm. You shall have the company of gods, not severed gorgon heads.
Hey, but you don't seem to have a problem with me being friends with Achilles, right?
If I'm so important, shouldn't I be the one to choose whom I get to interact with around here?
You do not fully know your place, my child. The gorgon head most certainly does not know hers. Please focus on your task at hand and leave her be.
Whatever you say.
Aw, Nyx.
What's up? I can tell when Mother Nyx is upset, Zagreus, and I know better than to ask her, so I'm going to ask you. What happened?
Probably because Nyx took issue with me chatting with Dusa from time to time. Is that really so unbecoming of me? Not even Father seems to care.
Well, Mother cares, and I for one know better than to question it. None of us would be here were it not for her. If she has a request for you, you honor it.
You're telling me I should just start ignoring Dusa from now on, like you do?
You're a god. I'm telling you to learn to act like one.
I'm sorry I raised my voice with you last time, Than. I know Nyx put so much into this place and has nurtured so many of us here.
It's not me you should be apologizing to, Zag. Although, with Mother Nyx, sometimes it's best to leave her be. As for Dusa, I didn't mean to suggest you should abandon your friend.
Thanks.
You are consorting with the severed gorgon head, my child. Despite my wishes that you maintain respectful distances between yourselves.
She's my friend, Nyx. Look, I love you very much, you know I do, except you cannot choose my friends for me. I can't allow that. I know you don't trust her. Don't you trust me?
I do. Then very well. But understand that your relationship with her does not preclude the need for her continual improvement with respect to her responsibilities.
She'll be fine. No one works harder than Dusa.
Your Highness!
Dusa, I think that Nyx has some concerns. Maybe with me, because it's like you said, she doesn't want us talking here like this. Is she not satisfied with the work you've been doing or something?
Oh, Prince, no, it isn't you. It's definitely me. There's There's all these things she said I need to work on. Calmness, not making so many lists, putting things into perspective, not working myself too hard, not taking blame for things that aren't my fault.
Those sound like reasonable goals, though I just wish that Nyx could find a way to tell you that wasn't so upsetting. Won't you take care of yourself, Dusa, please?
And plus, she said I'm not supposed to talk to you. She said that too. Oh, I am going to be in so much trouble. Ah!
This isn't working.
Oh no, Dusa's crying. What's wrong, Dusa?
Prince, I wanted to say goodbye because it's my last day. Or night. Anyway, it's really been a pleasure knowing you and working here, and so...
Wait, what exactly happened? Your last day or night? What is all this? You're really leaving? Why?
I lost my job. Miss Nyx, it's her final word, and so I need to go before I make things any worse. Farewell, Highness. Farewell.
No, Dusa.
Nyx. Damn it.
So, that means Dusa's not going to be around the house for a few runs. There's going to be some additional dialogue I have to have with Nyx and Meg and some others. During this time, I also can't use Companion Fiddy. I mean, I can carry it around with me, but every time Zagreus tries to summon Dusa, she won't come and Zagreus will wonder where she is. So I think this is one of the last kind of major storylines I want to wrap up.
Achilles, what happened between Nyx and Dusa? Dusa's really gone?
Nyx cut her off, lad. I'm sorry. I know you cared about her. I was as surprised as you when I found out. I knew that Nyx had her concerns about Dusa's propensity to overwork herself, but this wasn't the step I was expecting.
Propensity to overwork herself? You really think that's what this was about? I can't shake the feeling it's my fault. Nyx didn't want her talking to me, as though she's beneath me or something. What am I going to do?
Look, I don't have all the information on this one, and neither do you from the sound of things. Nyx loves you and respects you. I trust she would want to know how this affects you.
I'll talk to her. Not quite.
Nyx really let Dusa go.
She did. So you heard. I don't know what happened. You didn't even get a chance to say goodbye.
No. Damn it. If you had anything to do with this, even if you didn't, come on and die.
Should visit the head chef.
Damn you, Zagreus. She was my friend, and now she's gone.
Who, you mean Dusa? Like I had anything to do with that. It's Nyx you should be cross with, not me.
I don't think so. Nyx warned you. Ugh, you know I can't go to her myself about this, so fix it.
What happened with Dusa, Nyx? You really fired her because she talked to me. She was my friend.
She was removed for insubordination and repeated overextension and lack of proper judgment, child. Your affinity for her is the reason her removal was as amicable as it was.
Insubordination and repeated lack of what? She worked harder than anyone here to keep the house neat and orderly. I'd thought you would have valued that.
Her eagerness to please was to a fault. Perhaps your Olympian relatives require sacrifices, child, but this house requires efficiency and nothing more.
Efficiency? You know who you sound like right now, don't you, Nyx? I can't believe this.
If you are bent on undermining my authority, go do so someplace else.
See, I don't really understand Nyx's point of view here. Like, I know she wants Dusa to kind of have... to not overwork herself, but also to not have, like, follow orders blindly with devotion to the house and instead be more efficient. And not, like, take blame for things that she didn't do, but firing her without giving her even, like, a second chance or anything like that. I feel like this is something that they just kind of... It feels to me this was shoehorned in here just for the sake of this story arc. It doesn't really seem completely fitting to Nyx's character, although they've written it in a way that is convincingly so for her, I think, but I'm still not quite satisfied with the way that this is going in terms of the character development of Nyx in this particular arc. So if I try to summon Dusa, Zagreus will say various dialogue like...
No word from Dusa.
Like, where's Dusa? Is Dusa really gone? Where is she? I miss Dusa. That's pretty sad. I think there's a cooldown on his dialogue.
Where's Dusa?
There. See? And that's the last companion that I haven't leveled up to unlock the full journal entry, so I guess I'll have to wait till she's back to do that.
Zagreus, I know you're upset about what happened between Nyx and Dusa. Before you ask, I need to respect Nyx's space and authority on this one, alright?
Yeah. Nyx, I'm sorry that I raised my voice with you before. It's just... I cared about Dusa, and I know just how much she cared about working here, with you and all of us. Isn't there some way you would reconsider letting her go?
I appreciate that you have calmed yourself, my child. As for the Gorgon head, this house needs steady-tempered vigilance, not unthinking devotion. Despite repeated feedback, she refused to approach any aspect of her duties with restraint.
Wait, you're saying you fired Dusa for working too hard? Did you give her any warning?
She did not understand how to work properly. Despite all that she did, she ultimately was a burden to this house. There was no warning necessary on my part.
Please, give her another chance, Nyx. She can learn, she just needs to know what she did wrong. She gave this work everything. She just pushed too hard. Shouldn't something like that be forgivable?
It seems you have more patience than I, child. And I did not realize you cared. But do not ask again for me to rescind my decision. Are we understood?
Yes, we're understood.
See, again, I don't really see Nyx's point of view. Like, could have told Dusa that she was working herself too hard. And Nyx even said, I didn't realize that you cared, but we already went through the story arc conversations of her realizing that I had really good friendship with Dusa, right? And I'm pretty sure that's a prerequisite for this quest. So it's not like the dialogue can be taken separately. And then for Nyx to agree with me and say she sees my point of view and that she understands that I liked Dusa, but then also say that she doesn't want to rescind her decision, maybe because it makes her look bad or something like that, I don't really understand. Dusa, you're back.
Yes, Nyx, do I want my job again? More than anything, this job, it means everything to me. I mean, working with you are the night itself. This place, and all of you, all of it, it's so amazing to me, and I want to help. Just give me one more chance.
Your one more chance has certain stipulations, Dusa. If you think it is necessary to exceed the allotted time for your responsibilities, I expect you to ask. You are not the sole bearer of this house's fate. Your temperament toward your work is as important as the end result. Now then, I would ask that you return to your post.
What? Miss Nyx, you mean, like, start right now? Now? I mean, I don't have a lot of pressing obligations, so I'll do it. Yes, I accept. I'm so excited to be back. Where do I even start? I can survey the lounge, sweep the cobwebs, walk Cerberus, check the pantry. Okay, I'm off.
Do your best work.
Oh, what a good girl.
Hooray.
I saw that Dusa had returned. I trust Nyx's judgment, though I must admit I was pleased to see she decided to give her another chance.
Most definitely, yes.
A commendable result.
You really asked Dusa to come back. Thank you, Nyx. I'm very grateful. And Megaera, probably everybody here. I'm sure she won't let you down.
I know you care for her, child. And I admit I retain several concerns. Not only about the appropriateness of her conduct, but of her reckless inexperience. I do, however, see the possibility that she can work through these issues, perhaps with your support.
It's the closest we get to Nyx basically saying that maybe she was wrong in her judgment.
You'll be impressed. You'll see.
She's like a very strict mother that cares, but sometimes likes to make decisions for you.
You saw Dusa's back, right, Meg? She's getting another chance. Nyx reconsidered.
I saw. Nyx doesn't often change her mind when it comes to this house. But I won't second guess what happened or why.
You don't sound all that pleased.
This never should have happened, Zagreus.
Prince, Hi again, I guess. I guess I'm back at work here once again.
Imagine my relief. I'm glad that Nyx has come around. I understand she was concerned, but I hope she never looks past all your good qualities like that again.
I hope so too. I'm glad to have my job back. It's hard work, and I know there's more to life, such as it is, than this, but it matters a lot to me, you know? I have to do this, so I'm glad that all of you are letting me.
Look, I'm just glad you're back.
Oh, hi!
So what even happened when you lost your job, Dusa? Did you have someplace else to stay? Was everything alright?
You know, it's funny. After I was fired, at first, I just couldn't believe it. I felt lost. But after a few days or nights, it's like it opened up my eyes, you know? Suddenly I had all this time to myself, and what I realized was I was so tired. I think I really needed the break.
I'm surprised you wanted to come back to work after something like that. Wouldn't you be totally fed up? Burned out on the whole thing?
I love this work too much to get burned out, Prince. But that's me. I know there's more to being alive or being dead than just your work, but my work happens to be important to me. And besides, if I don't push myself from time to time, how can I ever know my limits, right?
But if you go too far beyond your limits, things can get bad. Believe me. I mean, you almost lost the job you care so much about.
You're right. I need to be more careful not to push myself too hard too often. Hey, could I ask a favor? Would you tell me if I go too far with work again?
Sounds good. I will.
I mean, I am glad that this whole storyline was not centered around the fact that Zagreus was talking to Dusa. It was more like a red herring. I think if they explained more about how Dusa was overworking herself earlier, I think it would make sense, because in hindsight, they describe it like if she's talking about working so hard that she's so burnt out, but this is the first time I've really heard about that, so I'm just glad that she's back.
Did you see, sir? Dusa's returned. Nyx must have reconsidered her decision.
She must have indeed, lad. I was pleased to see Dusa return. And you know what? I dare say she seemed rather well rested for a change. It might not have been the best of circumstances, though my hope is that some good has come of it.
I'm just glad she's back.
You know, I think the plot would have been interesting if it was kind of like a sneaky way of giving Dusa a break, but hiding it under the veil of firing her seems a bit slimy, so I don't think that was the point, but it just happened to be a nice side effect.
I saw that Dusa's back. You must have worked your ways on Mother Nyx. Don't know how you do it. Can't remember the last time I saw her budge on anything.
Nyx genuinely cares about this house and all of us. She had to come around on something like this. Dusa's one of the hardest workers here, even if she has room to improve.
Incessant hard work can lead to trouble, Zagreus. I think maybe that's why Mother was concerned. We all know how your father can get. She doesn't need someone like Dusa taking after him.
That's an interesting perspective, Thanatos.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Oh look, Dusa's on the featured house servant board. I didn't know that she can get on there.
Dusa, you did it.
Oh, she looks cute. Good for her.
At first, I was deeply concerned that you were spending so much time with Dusa, child. It seemed unbecoming for the both of you, and threatened to disrupt our custodian's routine. Except, it pleases me to say that, in this case, I was mistaken about you.
Thank you for saying so, Nyx. Though you mean you were mistaken about me or about Dusa?
I was mistaken about both of you. That you would influence her in a harmful way. Yet here in point of fact, she has performed her duties with increasing skill. That she would fail to perform her role or to learn well from her mistakes. Please do continue to look out for her.
I will. She'd do the same for me.
Okay, but, like, to be fair, every time I come back here from an assignment, I talk to Dusa, it takes like 5 seconds, and then we both get back to work, so I think you're worrying a little too much, Nick, but I'm glad that you admitted that you were incorrect.
And therefore, for your diligence and service, and for having demonstrated such improvement, by my authority as Knight itself, I hereby name you Chief Custodian of the House of Hades, and appoint you the privileges implied. Bear the responsibility with honor, Dusa.
Oh, congratulations, Dusa. That's fantastic. Did we didn't have a chief custodian before, I'm assuming. Did she just make that position for her, or did some random shade get demoted?
Miss Nyx, I am truly honored, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and for the trust you've placed in me in this expanded role. I promise you, I will not let you down. Not you or anybody here. Thank you so much.
See, Nyx, I knew you'd come around on Dusa.
You are most welcome. The orderliness of this house is a reflection of the realm as a whole. You have internalized this, and understood that a disciplined approach toward work is far more valuable than mere exertion of effort. Although you understand the need for exertion as well.
I mean, work smarter, not harder, right?
Thank you.
Well deserved. I'm so proud of Dusa lately, Meg. Chief Custodian of the house, was it? It's quite an honor coming from Nyx.
I thought all the added responsibility would stress Dusa out worse than usual, but she's taking it in stride.
You're always looking out for her. Thanks for that.
Not doing it for you. Though, thanks for looking out for her yourself.
Of course.
Aw, in this house we love and appreciate Dusa.
Not as comfy as it looks. How's work lately, Dusa? You seem to have a handle on your new responsibilities, or so I hear from Nyx.
Oh, yes, it's going pretty well so far, I think. I have some new accounting duties, though I've parceled everything and got a budget for a little extra help. It's funny, I should be busier than ever, but I have more time to spare lately, and things are good, I guess.
Great to hear it. Hope you keep it up. Got you some more of that contraband you like? Don't suppose I could help you put it away or anything?
Look at me, Zag. You think that all these gifts will make things go back to the way they were? They won't. It isn't possible. We may be immortals, but we're older now.
I'd hope we're wiser too. Meg? Meg? Oh, I was not expecting company. Were you just casually snooping, or is there something I can help you with?
I was just leaving Zagreus. Happened to be in the area, no thanks to you, and thought I'd go retrieve the last of my possessions. I have to say, you've really let this place go to hell.
She left. Great. Wonderful. I guess we'll just go back to killing each other repeatedly then.
So that should be part of Meg's quest to unlock her 7th heart. So next time I see her, maybe she'll be able to progress the relationship. I think it's implied that the two of them seem to have been involved with each other in the past in some sort. But I guess we'll see. It's kind of interesting. And everyone likes to rag on Zagreus' room being a mess. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, I think Hades does it more as a joke because, you know, like dads, like, or parents and their kids telling them always to clean up their rooms, but it's not that messy. I mean, I haven't bought any furnishings for it yet, but maybe I'll liven the place up later.
Megaera, I have to ask you something, please. We really need to talk.
For once, I think you're right. Although I'm curious, what is it that you think we have to talk about?
I still have feelings for you. At least, I think I do. Isn't there some way for us to, you know, work through all of this?
In spite of everything that's happened, and that's happening right now, what are the outcomes, Zagreus? What, exactly?
I haven't thought that far ahead. But I don't think it has to be this way. I don't hate you, Meg. I don't think I can ever hate you.
Despite my best intentions. Unfortunately, I don't know that I can say the same. Look, I'm at a very difficult point in my career. I need to focus on that now. Do we understand each other?
I think so. Hello, Fury Sisters.
So, what's the matter, Zagreus? You look a bit uncomfortable. Something you want to say to me? Or any one of us?
Well, it's just... there's something that I wanted to discuss with you at some point, Meg, but after more consideration, I'm thinking maybe now is not the time.
I understand entirely. Though you should know my sisters and I keep no secrets from each other anymore. Isn't that right, sisters?
Oh.
Zagreus?
Forget another something in my bedchambers there, Meg.
No, we need to talk again. My sisters are involved now in all this. You've really stirred up quite a mess.
I know. I'm sorry, but this is something that I have to do. You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't know. What I'm trying to say is, with my sisters involved, it changes things. It takes some of the pressure off of me.
Some of the pressure? Wait, what are you going to do?
I'm saying I know you're doing what you have to do here, Zagreus. And my sisters and I will always try to stop you. But I'm only doing it because I have to. Understand?
Oh, so she's kind of glad that her sisters have to do it too, because then she doesn't always have to be the one that fights me. Is that what she's trying to say?
Meg. She...
Yay! So next time I see Meg, I can give her some nectar, and then she'll be able to give me a chthonic companion. Or some ambrosia, rather.
Home again. Ambrosia. You know the penalty for attempting to sway an overseer of the House of Hades with foreign contraband, don't you?
I can't entirely say I do, though if it involves lashings and whatnot, I already get more than my share of that, so figured I would take the risk. So what do you say?
I say hand over the damn bottle. I'll see that it's disposed of properly. Now, as for you, you wouldn't know who misplays something like this, would you? On my authority as overseer. Hang on to it. Though if you tell so much as anyone.
What? Wow. I'll cherish her.
Yay, another companion.
Megaera?
Forgive me, Lord. Gotta get that.
I had this awful contraband I wanted to turn in as soon as possible, if you don't mind taking it from me, Meg.
You still have no idea how to be upfront with me, do you, Zag? Why don't you tell me why you're here and what you want?
So the whole contraband thing, you aren't buying it, I guess. Although I see you took the bottle there now anyway. I wanted just to talk to you, and patch things up, maybe.
Patch things up? What is it, by your estimation, that could use repairs between the two of us?
I was naive. I tried not to get too close, but then I did, and said a lot of stupid things, and then... Well, we've since tried to kill each other lots of times, there's that. Look, I'm sorry, Meg.
You said a lot of stupid things, all right. And we Furies, we're not much for forgiveness or apologies. But I can see you're making an attempt. Now thank you for the contraband. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
A little birdie told me recently that you and Megaera the Fury, why, you've grown quite close. Now do be careful around her, and try not to get attached there,
Here, Meg. Contraband. I wish I could do over how we started.
I, too, wish for a lot of things. Unfortunately, there's no unraveling the fate's patterns. We can learn from our mistakes or keep repeating them. That's it.
What if I've learned from my mistakes? Have I ever done anything to hurt you since we've been like this? Discounting the unavoidable and frequent fights to the death.
There's nothing you can do to hurt me, Zag. It's just a question of whether you're worth my time.
Well, am I worth your time then, Meg?
You know. Let me get back to you on that. I need a little time to think it through.
I see. Take all the time you need. Megaera?
Ready, Electo. Well, Zag, may I have this dance for old time's sake? Nyx, you'd tell me if I made a terrible mistake, or even just a bad one, wouldn't you? I need your guidance on this one, or maybe your approval.
You shall always be the best determiner of what is right about such matters, Megaera. Though if you seek my blessings or encouragement in this particular pursuit, please rest assured, you have them both. You know the way from here.
I hope that you're right. You always have been, it's just that I wish I had your confidence in this.
Okay, so I've thought really long and hard about this, and like there's been a bit of a delay between the last time I gave Meg ambrosia and this time, and I'm coming to the same conclusion that I did with Dusa. I know if I'm so close to finishing everything in this game, I might as well give the last ambrosia to Meg. When she gives me the next scene, what I'll do is I think I'll just turn her down, which is a little bit unusual, but if you want to see what other people have done on YouTube, there's tons of people that took her up on her offer, and there's a couple people that turned her down as well, if you're curious to see how that goes, as well as people who've chosen the scene where you get to do a polyamorous with her and Thanatos. So I will give her the last ambrosia for the sake of completion, and then next time she meets me in the room, I'll just I answer like as if I intended to turn her down, as I have been this whole time. I know it's kind of silly for me to be thinking about these things so deeply, but I mean, I think the idea of romancing is very important to me in the way that I approach it, that is meaningful and true to myself. Even if they're just video game characters, like, I do want to just treat them with respect. And plus, this game is so freaking long to get everything. Like, I'm not going to go back through this on a fresh file anyway, so might as well just get everything complete. So that was a lot of talking, but with said, let's give her the last ambrosia.
Hey Meg, you're off duty, aren't you? Look, I was just hoping you might want to split this with me. Best if I could find out there and I would give it all to you. It's just, maybe you wouldn't mind some company. From me.
You sound a little tongue-tied, Zagreus. Just like you always used to around me.
You're not exactly easy to approach, you know. So, how about it then? Care for a drink with me?
Open it up and we can go from there. You should have seen the look on your face. You act a lot more confidently now. Though, I think deep down you're still that inexperienced little godlike that you used to be.
And I think deep down you're not the heartless harbinger of retribution that you want for everyone to think you are. But I can keep your secret if you're willing to keep mine. What do you say?
That sounds an awful lot like blackmail, Zagreus. You'd stoop to that with me?
No, I was just... That's not what I meant at all.
I just want to see you squirm. Thanks for the company and for the drink. Guess I'll be seeing you around.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, so unlike with Dusa, she did give me the bond forged on the 10th heart. Because Dusa hasn't. I think I need to wait for the bedroom scene with Dusa to get that last bond forged thing. Okay, you know what? We might be getting closer to getting Aphrodite's last heart as well with this completion of this romance. So, closer to 100% completion, or as close to 100% completion of this game as I think I will reach.
I need to trouble you for something, Zag.
Meg, what a surprise. Again. What is it? What's the matter? Wait, why are you looking at me like that?
Shut up already, Zagreus, and come here.
You really... Oh.
See, okay, it's tough. It's a tough decision, because I do like Zagreus and Meg. I think they have a bit more chemistry, because you encounter her more often than you encounter Thanatos, but I do like Zag and Thanatos. Just one from an aesthetic point of view, like they look good together, but also I like the friendship that they have, and for that to like, you know, childhood friend go on to something more, I do like that. So, and I know, again, I've mentioned this so many times, you can do polyamorous with Meg and Than. If you romance them both, then they'll both appear in your bedroom one day and be like, hey, we kind of want to do this thing, but it just doesn't feel right to me, so I'm going to ease off. If you want to see the other outcome, feel free to look it up on YouTube. I was able to find it.
Meg, I'm deeply flattered, and you're very dear to me. It's just, this isn't what I want from our relationship. I fear I must have led you on. Forgive me. Please, say you'll still be my friend.
You're sure? Look, it's totally alright. I'll see you out there then.
Sorry, Meg.
See, that was a really respectful conversation, and Meg's response felt very short and curt, but she had like a smile on her face, which is very rare, so I'm inclined to believe that, you know, it was good terms, so next time we see her, maybe we'll have a little bit of a word, but yeah.
Come off it, Zag. Are you really going to act all uncomfortable every time you see me now? More than usual, I mean.
So, I just encountered Meg on the last run as the boss for Tartarus, and she seemed a bit more pleasant than usual. Like, not like overly so, but when I beat her, instead of saying like, oh, or how could this happen, she was kind of like, not bad, as she died, which I thought was kind of neat. Is she going to be nice to me all the time now? Also, I forgot to mention that when I looked up the scene of Meg and Zag in the bedroom, like, you saw what happened with Thanatos, right? It faded to black and you heard like some giggles and some sounds from them. The same thing happens with Meg and Zag if you accept her feelings. And it's kind of funny because you hear like them giggle and laugh and like make some sounds, and then you hear the sound of her whip, like the sound effect that she uses for her whip from her boss fight in the middle. So it's like, wonder what you two were up to, huh?
No, it's just, I felt terrible turning you away. It's just, I've been so confused lately, and I trust you. You're someone I can talk to. I guess I'm afraid to lose that.
Don't be an idiot, and you won't. We've been through a lot together. Grown, maybe. This particular relationship, it can't die so easily, I think.
Thanks, Meg.
Also, on a similarly related note, like if you get together with both Meg and Thanatos, they mentioned that Meg and Thanatos have known each other for a very, very long time before even I was born. And it kind of begs the question again, like, how old are they? I mean, everyone in this game, they're gods, right? Or they're dead. So it's hard to make out their ages. And obviously, you know, when it comes to mythology, there's all sorts of things going on. But if Meg and Than, like, have probably worked together for ages and ages and ages before Zagreus came along, so he's like a baby to them. Isn't that right?
What's new, Meg?
Things can't entirely be different between you and me. You know that, don't you, Zag? Not when it comes to this, at least.
I do. We wouldn't both be consummate professionals if it were any other way. You won't be going easy on me, will you?
I'm going to pretend you didn't ask me that. Now give me everything you've got.
It pleases me that you and Megaera have come to deeply understand each other, child. I must admit to you, it was my hope that you and she were capable of this result.
You're happy Meg and I are friends now, Nyx. I appreciate it, certainly, though. I worry it might get in the way of Meg's ability to do her job.
I have no such fear for either one of you. You both are dedicated to your tasks. I trust your friendship can withstand your confrontations every now and then. For that is why the friendship blossomed, is it not?
It is. You're probably right.
You sure that you're alright with everything? I wouldn't want you to be caught up in the middle of all this. If you so much as said to call it off.
No, Meg, no, Meg! Come on, no, are you kidding me? I mean, I couldn't be happier about it, really. You deserve this, as long as you're happy yourself, right?
Well, thank you, Dusa. You've always been so kind. I don't quite know what to say.
Hey now, that's my line. Look though, I better get going, but I just want to say this is great news, alright? Thank you for telling me.
You're right. And same to you.
I wonder if that conversation is the same dialogue regardless of whether you accept Meg's relationship or reject it. Because it sounds ambiguous enough that it could be either.
Megaera, the featured servant of the house.
I don't think we've ever seen Meg up there before, have we?
Oh well.
You know Batty's not going to work here, don't you? I'm definitely not going to help you out of this one.
Come on, Meg, you can do anything if you set your mind to it. Though don't worry, Batty's just here for the show.
Then let's make it a good one. Come on.
Trash god. Ugh, would you just look at him? That smug look, that posture, everything. Please tell me you're not going soft for this trash god, sister.
Come on, Electo. When was the last time that we looked to one another for approval? Besides, as long as we kill him, what do you even care?
You know, fair point there, sister. Very nicely said. Let's kill him now!
Dearest, why, I sense your heart is very full indeed. You positively emanate with love. You must have grown quite close to many dear to you. Perhaps so you may do the same with me? I'm so delighted to have seen your spirit shine.
My lady Aphrodite, once more you've graced me with your presence and your favor, which inspire the best from me. Let this modest gift of ambrosia signify I am forever in your debt.
My little godling. I'd say you've honored me more times than I could count, but that would be a lie now, wouldn't it? I so admire your devotion and your perseverance. If ever you do reach us on Olympus, I should very much enjoy getting to know you even better then.
That's the last bond I needed forged.
Oh, my dearest, I have to say your heart is positively bursting with such love for so many you have come to care about. Your dearest friends, your burning passions, family, everyone. Why, you're like a living testament to my entire body of work.
Hey, did you see? Somebody got me this incredible new sleeper seat right here. Though I would never lie down while on the job. I'm perfectly alright sleeping while standing up.
Well, there it is, in case you change your mind.
I can't believe it, Mr. Hypnos. How did you do it? All the shapes that have been lining up, they've been moving right along.
You know, you're right. They have. They definitely have. It's pretty hard to notice since they're slow, but I have a keen eye. And so do you. You noticed before I did in this case. What did you say your question was back there?
I asked you how you did it. Got the traffic flow moving a little faster, and it's the sarcophagus things, isn't it? Right down the hall. The shades, they're scared to stand around. That's brilliant, Mr. Hypnos. I'm impressed.
Oh, that, well, really, it was nothing, Dusa. Though, I'll tell you something. It is good to know that you're impressed with me.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Anyway, I'll mark this as resolved.
Mark it away.
Alright, so Hypnos is the last character that has not unlocked his 7th heart with me. And his favor, or the quest that you do to unlock his 7th heart, involves just a bunch of random dialogue between him and Thanatos and Dusa about getting better at his job. And I thought I've already done that because Thanatos told him to make lists, and then he started making his list, and then he got better at it and got praise from Lord Hades. So I thought that I was finished with him, but he hasn't unlocked his heart yet. And I looked online, and a lot of people had a lot of trouble trying to get Hypnos' last heart as well. In fact, a lot of people said they've played like 200 hours plus of this game, and he's the last character they have not been able to give ambrosia to. And someone said, oh, I finally figured it out. You have to buy these tombstone items to go into the hallway, and it makes the shades move faster in line, which helps improve Hypnos' job. Who would have thought? I never would have figured that out on my own. So next time I see Hypnos, he should be able to start progressing his relationship a little bit more, and I can give him those last couple ambrosias to be the last official person that I'll be finished building my relationship with in this game.
But what I mean to say is that I'm sorry, Hypnos. You're my brother, but I haven't always treated you that way. Would you be willing to forgive me?
Oh, come on, Thanatos. Are you kidding me right here? We're like two skeletons in a crypt. You're the best, and you're always looking out for me. Even when you're not around for what can seem like eons at a time.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We each have got important jobs to do. Isn't that right, brother?
Huh, that is right.
Yay, they made up. Good job, Hypnos.
You did it! Oh, hey, this might be a little weird, but thanks. I mean, you talked to Thanatos about me, right? At first, I thought he was acting funny, but he has definitely been a lot nicer to me lately.
Come on, Hypnos, I didn't have anything to do with that. You seem like you've been working extra hard and taking some of the feedback you've been getting to heart. I think Thanatos really appreciates that sort of thing. Who doesn't?
I don't know, but I really appreciate that you went out of your way. I mean, I just stand here and greet and register the dead, but you're a real friend.
Oh, thanks, Hypnos.
Yay. Gosh, he's literally the last person. Sisyphus was the second last one. And then Hypnos was the last person to accept ambrosia from me, so here we go.
Hypnos, wanted to say you have really helped the thought of my coming back here time after time, painful death by death, not be inherently abhorrent. Your greetings really help, so I wanted you to have this.
But wait, it's ambrosia! You're not supposed to have this here! We could both get in a lot of trouble, and I mean a lot, if they catch us in the middle of this totally forbidden exchange!
I notice that you haven't yet returned the bottle to me, which I'm going to take as an indication that you're going to hang on to it.
Oh, you bet!
I can hardly believe it. Hypnos finally came out on top, huh? Even Father seemed pleased with him. It's more than I get.
I can hardly believe it either, Zagreus. But then again, he's one of Mother Nyx's offspring, so we shouldn't be so surprised. Though I have to thank you for talking to me about him a while back.
Oh, that. I noticed you two getting along better recently. So what's your secret?
He loves lists. Doesn't do well with subtlety so much, but spell things out for him and he will get right on it. Long as he's awake, at least. He's still working on that part.
Who doesn't have room for improvement, though, right? One more forbidden exchange, Hypnos. Sometimes when I'm out there and about to die, I catch myself thinking, well, at least Hypnos will share one of his deep insights about why it is I utterly failed. So here, for all your generous advice.
Aw, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I mean, all my advice is free. You really didn't have to do this. But I sure am glad you did. Even if it is highly illegal.
You what, Hypnos? You what?
I think you could be my best friend. Have you tried being my best friend?
I'll have to give that a shot.
Oh, look at his little icon. He's so cute and sleepy.
Hey, there you are. So is it true? You know, about you and Thanatos? Because he told me and I just said, whoa, but then everything made sense?
I'm sure whatever it is he said is completely true. Yes, Hypnos.
Whoa.
Than, you know, Hypnos, he adores you. Besides just driving you to madness now and then.
I'm rather used to the relationship, thanks, Zagreus. Seems like you got to know him pretty well.
Well, dying repeatedly can end up bringing people closer, I suppose.
I don't know what's worse, dying repeatedly or Hypnos. Although I guess I'm grateful for your patience with him, Zag.
He's like an annoying little brother to me.
I feel like that's exactly how Than feels too. Now that we're dating Than, he's our annoying little brother.
Got to tell you something, Than. You can be pretty mean to Hypnos. And that's coming from someone who's mean to Hypnos a lot. Believe me, I completely understand, but still.
He's utterly incompetent, Zag. He wouldn't even be here if Mother Nyx wasn't trying to whip him into some sort of shape.
Yeah, but pretty much none of this would be here were it not for Nyx, right? Anyway, my point is not that you should go easy on him, but there must be some way not to get us frustrated. We'll both be better off.
I know, it's just... You're right. I catch myself feeling particularly horrid after talking to him. He can be very frustrating and self-absorbed. Though, I know he means well. Probably.
Probably? I don't often see you interact with Hypnos, Nyx, so I just wanted to make sure. Is everything alright?
Hypnos still is learning independence, child. Thus I have decided it is best to keep my distance from him temporarily, else he shall continue to rely upon me, even for completing the most rudimentary requests. We have agreed he shall not call upon me for the time being.
For the time being? How long are we talking? Can't remember the last time I saw you speaking with him now that you mention it.
Based on his rate of progress, I suspect his education shall have been complete well before the dawning of the next age.
Well, keep it up, Hypnos.
I just get sleepy sometimes, Mom. I mean, I've been working so much lately, just over there. You've probably seen me greeting shades, making my list, creating a welcoming environment.
Remember what we previously spoke of, Hypnos? Do not address me thus whilst we are here. Conduct yourself as befitting a servant of the House of Hades. And continue practicing your independence, please.
Yes, Mom. I mean, Mother.
Hey look! A new face up on the featured servant house board. Who's that I see? I love how he has his sleep mask covering his eyes.
I must be dreaming. Hypnos?
Okay, so there's one more cutscene that I know of, where Nyx congratulates Hypnos on being the featured servant of the month, although it's kind of a backhanded compliment to be honest, but she shows some appreciation for him, and then Hypnos seems gracious for it, and calls her Mother Knight again instead of Mom. But I've done a lot of extra runs now, and I think I've exhausted all the extra dialogue, so she's not saying it. Maybe there's something that triggers it, or maybe I need to talk to Nyx when Hypnos is the featured servant of the month, but I haven't gotten that to happen again since, so unfortunately I don't think I'll be including that cutscene here, but I did find it on YouTube, so it does exist out there. I'm not sure if there's more beyond that, but I think this is the end for Hypnos' little cutscenes and side quests for now. Okay, so Skelly's favor was I need to slay him with Stygius using Aspect of Zagreus at max level, and I've had this ready for a while, so now let's do this. Ready, Skelly?
Less talking, more socking here, pal.
Alright, you asked for it.
Keep going. Finally, free, boyo.
Farewell, Skelly. What?
Got you pretty good again, didn't I, boyo? I am asking you to get me out of here. All that stuff about your blade and your aspect, I mean, you ate all of it right up.
Skelly, you're such a trickster. Such a jokester.
It appears I've been the victim of an elaborate prank. Not sure that I appreciate it, Skelly. What if I were to never hit you again? How would you like that?
Yeah, threaten you by not using violence. I wonder how Zagreus must have felt. He sounded really sad, actually, slaying Skelly.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Now, come on, boyo. It was just a joke. I figured things could lighten up a little here. Don't need to do anything rash.
Then no more tricks like that again.
So then I should be able to start giving him ambrosia, and then he'll tell us a little bit more about who he's working for. I thought he would tell us after I slayed him. That's why I held it off for so long. So I guess you guys will have to wait a little bit longer, but luckily Skelly's one of the characters that never seems to actually move from this location, and he's always available every time I come back. So talk to you later, Skelly.
That's one prophecy out of the way. I guess I'm glad Skelly's not permanently dead.
He sounds so reluctant to say it.
Skelly, while I know your services have already been paid in full, your sources ought to know you've been doing an excellent job. So much so I wanted to give you this.
Is that a vintage bottle of ambrosia, pal? I never even thought I'd get to try a thing like that. I mean, what am I here? You know what? I want you to have this, to symbolize our friendship and in case you ever need a hand out there.
Skelly, mate, you really shouldn't have. Do you have any idea how hard to find this is?
Yay, I got a companion from Skelly.
That's a new one.
Oh, it's so cute. It looks kind of like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. So this one creates a distraction, like a dummy, with 250 health, provoking enemies to attack it until it dies. That's pretty good, actually. 250 health is a lot. Thanks, Skelly.
Hey. Hope you enjoyed that vintage bottle of ambrosia last time, Skelly, because I got you another. Here.
Aw, no way, boy. Are you kidding me right now? Why are you even... Look, I just stand around and let you beat me up. You don't have to do this. You don't even know who I am. Who I was.
You're my friend, mate. It's all that matters. Although, I don't suppose you're willing to divulge those types of details, just out of curiosity.
Nope.
Trap.
Let me have it already, boyo. No holding back.
I love how Zagreus calls everyone his mate. That's cute.
On my authority as Lord of Death.
To me, Skelly. Be there in just a second.
Return immediately.
No, Skelly!
You know, Skelly, I still cannot entirely get over that whole permanently kill you stunt you pulled on me. You had me deeply worried for a while, all for just a laugh.
Yeah, that's right. Not exactly much to do here, in case you hadn't noticed recently. Good thing I'm able to stay occupied with intellectual pursuits.
That's what you call it, then? In any case, I did want to make sure. You sure that you're alright having to stand around like this?
You kidding, pal? This is the life. Imagine getting paid to stand around and being pals with you.
Well, great, I guess.
Oh, that's a cute way to put it. Stand around and be pals with you.
Skelly, is it really true you don't want to talk about how you got here? Just curious who you used to be, what you were like, your real name.
Hey, what makes you think this isn't my real name, pal? I'm offended.
Sorry, what I meant was, I was just interested to get to know you better, after all you've done to help. Anything you can share? Trade you for a detail about me.
Well, alright. I was once a commander of men. Name of Skelly, captain of the Cretan Second Fleet, sailing on Athens under King Minos. We were unstoppable. But then one day, one wrong turn, and we sailed straight into the waters of Charybdis.
Skelly, that's incredible. So then, you and your crew, you perished at sea?
Boy, yo, you were something else, you know. All that Skelly stuff, I could have had you eating out of my hand for days.
I like how not only did the music change, but his title underneath his name changed to Doomed Captain during that one piece of speech.
Oh, I get it. You got me. Fine then, Skelly, but I don't appreciate the trick.
Oh, but I do. Who's this handsome fella?
Skelly, I'm serious. You really won't tell me anything about you. You're just going to leave me to speculate forever.
Yep.
Say, Dusa, in your work around the house, you wouldn't happen to have run into a Skelly character out in the courtyard there, have you?
Oh, not really, because my work is in the house itself, and while the courtyard technically, it's kind of right outside, so I'm supposed to stay inside the walls, but I think I know who you mean. I've seen him, standing there just past your chamber doors. Why? Is he okay?
I think so. I hope so. Say, you're from Crete originally, aren't you, Asterius? I know this is a stretch, but I don't suppose you ever heard of a commander by the name of Skelly, captain of the Cretan Second Fleet, something like that?
The king of Crete commanded the greatest navy in the world. Even I knew that, having never seen the light of day, the ships, the sea. Skelly, huh? I might have heard the name. So what?
What? Skelly was a real person then? But Skelly said, you know what? It's nothing, Asterius. Shall we?
Yes, let's.
Been here the whole time.
Say Skelly, or should I say Skelemius? I happen to have a chat with somebody familiar with that name. Large, bull-headed fellow originally from Crete. You said you made it all up. What's going on?
Never said I made it up, pal. I just knew you weren't gonna believe me. I mean, look at me. I look like a captain of the Cretan Second Fleet to you?
I don't know. I've never met one. Do they all just stand around doing nothing?
Well, sounds like somebody's never had to lead like 50 or something sailors in a voyage across the sea in a Minoan galley with nothing but the stars to guide them. What do you think the captains do? Pull the oars?
Wait, what about Hermes? He gave me the impression you might have been somebody else. Nobody in particular, not some great sea captain.
What is it with you guys talking behind the backs of all your friends, boyo?
Don't change the subject.
Don't change the subject!
Ah.
I can't tell, are we fighting? I mean, it seems kind of in good humor, but also, interesting. Okay, let's level up Companion Rib a little bit.
Rib, this one's for you. There we go. Rib, you are all set.
So I summoned Skelly against Asterius, and you can still see him in the background over there in the top of the screen, and he just kind of appears and goes like, "Bring it on, bull boy!" But I was expecting some unique interaction, but they didn't really. I also have the Fist of Gilgamesh, which I guess is why Asterius is saying this before he leaves. It's rare for him to say
got him again
text box dialogues before he finishes.
Good work out there.
Than, level with me on this. You didn't happen to hire a shifty character called Skelly to assist me here and there, did you?
Oh, finally! Okay, so I've been trying to get to the dialogue where Skelly reveals his boss for so long. Like, immediately after I started doing the epilogue, I gave him the last couple ambrosias and did his favor, and I thought that he would tell me by the time he got to his last heart, and he didn't. And so I've been talking to people, like Dusa mentioned him, and Nyx mentioned him, and Achilles mentioned him, and yet Skelly wouldn't reveal it. And then he told me that Skelemiah story, and then I ran to Asterius, and then he elaborated on that, and I thought that'd be the end. And then yet he didn't. And then Skelly started giving me a whole bunch of placeholder dialogue for a really long time. And so I looked online, and someone said, "Oh, you have to get Thanatos to talk about Skelly." And the only way they were able to figure that out was after like 200 hours of them playing and missing that one bit of information, they ran into Thanatos while holding Companion Rib. And that's what triggers this conversation. And I've run into Thanatos with Companion Rib like 3 or 4 times, and he hasn't said the dialogue because he was doing Hypnos' side quest, and now he's finally doing it. Are we finally going to find out who Skelly's working for? And I know I've already looked it up. I mean, it's pretty easy to spoil yourself on it, and I was very curious, but man, it was so much work to do this. I've finished almost everything else in the game now. And this thing was still left there, and I didn't want to leave it as a loose thread.
Who? What? No. Why would you even ask?
Didn't think so.
I've got a keen eye, boss, so I happen to notice you've got a certain tooth you're carrying about. No, you're in the land of the dead and all, but don't you think that comes across as just a little odd?
Okay, so I think this is the last piece of dialogue I need for Skelly to tell me who he's working for. I could have sworn I already got this. So you need to encounter Hermes while holding the lucky tooth. And I'm pretty sure I've had a conversation with Hermes about Skelly before, so in my mind I thought I had already done this. But turns out I haven't, and lately I only equip the lucky tooth if I need for the Temple of Styx, and by then I've already talked to Hermes at least once. So I think this is the last thing I need, although I just recently got the dialogue with Thanatos, so even if I had got this earlier, I still would have needed that one.
What? He meant Skelly's tooth? That lucky tooth you gave me, Skelly. First off, thanks again, and secondly, is this even yours? Had a run-in with Hermes who got me thinking.
What? You gonna believe everything that Gabby guy tells you now, boyo? He doesn't know a thing about me.
Never said he did. Though since you let on, what's your relationship to him? Working for him?
No! Nope, definitely not working for him. Closer to a peer relationship. Well, other than the fact that he's a god and I'm just... Well, what you see is what you get with me, pal. Hey, you won't tell anyone, will you? I'm just here to help, I swear.
Fine. Maybe.
Say, you're in good with what's his name? The one who gave you his lucky tooth? So he's an alright sort then. Has to be if you put up with him. Boss, I know you've heard a certain rumor from a very skinny individual who's uninclined to move. You best keep that one to yourself, alright? Or else our jig is up and your father wouldn't like that, nor would you. So, cheers.
Father, of all the skeletons and such in your direct employ, you wouldn't happen to have any here around the house, would you? Out in my courtyard, for example?
Skeletons? I'm sure they'll welcome you when next you visit Asphodel. You may not realize it, boy, but we have a certain standard of decency we uphold around here.
I figured.
How has no one else really noticed Skelly out there? I mean, Dusa said that she saw him, but like, how could Hades not know about him out there? Obviously he didn't employ him, but like, Skelly's not hiding or anything.
Alright, fess up, Skelly. Who are you working for? I know it's not Achilles, it's not Nyx. Dusa has no idea who you are. My father, no way. Hypnos, give me a break. So the house is ruled out.
Okay, finally! This is like the last of the major plot points that I really want to get through, and it took me forever to get through these because I am almost at 100 runs of this game, and when I finished the epilogue, it was around 64 runs. This is how far I've had to do just to get to the conclusion of Skelly's storyline. I finished everything else. I finished Sisyphus and Orpheus and Achilles, and with Patroclus and Eurydice. I finished my romances. I finished maxing out everyone's affection, and yet I couldn't get this last piece of dialogue, and that's because I didn't know that you had to encounter Thanatos with companion Rib in order to unlock his dialogue, and even then I had to do it 5 or 6 times until he finally said the right thing. And then I needed to encounter Hermes with the lucky tooth, and then talk to Hermes again like 2 times after that. And then finally Hades had a conversation with me about Skelly. Took so long. I mean, I think this game's fantastic, and it is addicting, and it's not that I'm sick of playing it, but like, I had to scour the internet for all these little bits of information just to get this. Okay, this is a good conversation though.
Sorry, pal, my lips are sealed. How about we change the subject?
How about you tell me who your sources are?
Nope.
Tell me.
No way.
Tell me.
I said no.
Tell me, Skelly.
Nuh-uh.
I think the funnier thing about this little conversation between the two of them is that Skelly and Zagreus are both voiced by the same person too. So, I mean, he's using a different voice, so you can't quite tell, but it's kind of amusing if you think about it.
Come on, tell me, please.
No means no.
Why won't you tell me?
Nice try, pal.
What if I never hit you again?
No.
What if I threaten you with mercy? With non-violence?
So help me, Skelly, if you don't tell me who you're working for, there will be no more violence between us, ever.
Yeah, we'll just have pleasantries instead. We'll be nice to each other. How would you like that, Skelly?
No. Please have mercy, boyo.
Have mercy.
No mercy, Skelly. Tell me, or else it will be only pleasantries between us from here on out.
No mercy. I'm gonna give you all the mercy.
All right. But you gotta promise me something. Promise not to let on and tell anybody in your fancy house, all right? Or else I'm done for. I'm serious.
I promise. So?
It's Charon.
See, like, there were so many hints about this, and it was kind of obvious, and, like, I already spoiled myself about this anyways, but it's kind of interesting.
Charon?
Huh. Yeah, he's rich. He's got connections to guys like me, and I think he's got a horse in this chariot race he got going on around here with Papa.
And I didn't realize this until someone pointed it out, but in Skelly's mouth is an obol, a coin for Charon. I thought that was just the top of his spinal column, colored yellow for whatever reason. Because when you die in Greek mythology, you're supposed to give Charon your coin to cross the river. So Skelly has not given Charon his coins. That means he still has stuff to do for Charon. And people were saying, what if Charon is like the master, like, puppet master behind this entire plot line? Like, he's manipulated Zagreus, and, like, he's given him Skelly, he's provided him with infernal arms, he's selling him boons, he's maybe tipped off Nyx to protect Zagreus and get this whole thing going in motion. I mean, some people said maybe it's all because he just wants money in all this, or maybe it's because he wants to reunite the family, because technically he is Zagreus's, like, half-brother or step-brother or whatever you want to call it. So kind of interesting, you think about it, for a character that doesn't actually talk.
What's his angle?
No idea. Maybe he likes you, maybe he's bored.
And he was the one who ferried Persephone back, right?
And Hermes. He's working for Charon too.
And that was kind of obvious, because he kept calling him his professional associate.
Yep. Now let's pretend like none of this ever happened so I can stick around, all right? Remember, pal, you promised.
Okay.
I can't believe how hard I had to work for this. It was an amusing conversation, though. But man, I had to work so hard to get this. And this is like the last thing I have left to do. There's a couple small plot points I still have yet to do, like Dusa with Nyx, and Poseidon gave me a new Fated Prophecy to do. Man, I did not think this part would take me so long.
Charon, unrelated to anything whatsoever, I just wanted to say I'm very grateful to have your support. You've always done your own thing. I never get to see you at the house, but I know you care an awful lot. So cheers. Thank you.
Oh, looks like you have some new dialogue for me.
Hey, Skelly, what with everything out in the open now, with the Queen and Charon and all that, mind if I mention some of this to Thanatos? Charon's his brother, after all.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I guess that part of the old contract no longer applies. So, go right ahead. Appreciate you asking, pal.
Wait, that part of the contract? I mean, I thought you said you didn't want anyone to know, so what part of the contract changed?
Appreciate you answering.
Alright.
So now you found me out, haven't you, cuz? Heard from the big boatman himself? Well, good. We're pleased to be of service, and we've got a lot of dirt on you. So you be sure to keep our secrets too, alright?
Charon, mate, I know you meet an awful lot of dead, and it probably gets very difficult to remember them all, but I don't suppose the name Skelly means anything to you, does it? Right, didn't think so. Forget I asked. Remember that Skelly character out in the courtyard, sir? Turns out he's been working with Charon all this time. Working for him, more like. I had so much help in this from all of you.
I thought you weren't supposed to tell anyone, Zagreus. I thought you agreed maybe you would tell Thanatos. Now you're going around and telling everyone.
Charon, of course. He has a stake in all that goes on in the underworld, and he probably thinks highly of you. This Skelly character, though, he must have been somebody if Charon's confided in him.
He won't tell me. He was either a venerable sea captain or a petty thief. Maybe both.
Maybe both. I've met the sort.
Skelly, did you tell Charon and Hermes about our little conversation from before, about your sources? Because I didn't tell them, but they seemed to know.
I mean, Hermes seemed to know, but Charon... he doesn't really talk, so how would you have realized that, Zagreus? You're the one who brought up Skelly to him.
Boy, thought we agreed we weren't gonna be having conversations on this subject from here on. Spares me having to spill my guts with my sources later.
I didn't get you into too much trouble, did I?
If you did, pal, I would not be here right now.
Well, that's good.
Than, you're not going to believe this, but Charon's been helping me. All on his own, apparently. I was so sure that Nyx or someone put him up to it. That Skelly character I mentioned, Charon hired him.
What are you talking about, Zagreus? Just because Charon's selling you things doesn't mean he's helping you. Wait, are you sure?
I'm sure. His helper, Skelly, he's a lot more talkative and finally let on. Although he couldn't tell me how come Charon did a thing like this. I mean, we weren't ever close.
All I can think of is Charon's very dedicated to this house, like some of us. Maybe he thought he could help settle things between you and your father, one way or another.
Did he really think that far ahead?
Is Charon the ultimate mastermind behind this entire plot?
Nyx, meant to ask. Charon was there to take Mother and me home the one time. So has he been working for you? All part of some elaborate plan or something?
Charon serves only this realm, child. And he is very trustworthy. I suppose that it is also possible he has some affection for the Queen. If not for you.
Elaborate plan, then. Got it.
Oh, nephew, you've stood against the Bull of Minos, have you? Well, I must apologize for any inconvenience there, because he was a living testament to my revenge. Long story, boring really, rather sordid too. Stay strong. That scoundrel Theseus. Apparently he earned himself some sort of winsome prize for all this blustering there in Elysium. Though I'm quite certain that no matter what he and his bull friend have at their disposal, you've the power to defeat them utterly. So go do it. Surely I'll get word. I knew that I could count on you, nephew. So the ungrateful Theseus. The winsome prize he earned was just some chariot, correct? And he was vanquished on it anyway. That's what he gets. Boasting his prize was greater than any in his mortal days. Puh.
Was bound to happen, really.
Alright, so I finished this one.
Anything to cut Theseus down to size.
So, in case it wasn't clear, what happens in this one is you'll get random dialogue from Poseidon asking you basically to take down Theseus on extreme measures. Now, I think this follows after Poseidon has talked about Theseus already, which he did in a previous episode. He also briefly mentioned Asterius, and I'm not sure if that's a prerequisite for this. So, I didn't get this prophecy until very late in the game. Like, I finished nearly everything else, and then he finally said it, because I was wondering where it was. Maybe my game was bugged or something like that, because people have mentioned it, and I thought maybe I'd get it sooner. But I finally got it. You beat Theseus on extreme measures, and Theseus doesn't have any special dialogue for this. He just kind of said his usual thing. Then you get to find Poseidon again, and then he basically rewards you for it. So, got that one over with.
Avert your eyes, fiend, lest the shining bronze work of the Macedonian should strike you blind. We are prepared to face your devilry.
Prepared for me, really? I've dismantled your ridiculous chariot before. Even Poseidon knows you're just a blowhard with a fancy ride.
How dare you to invoke my Lord Poseidon's name, and to besmirch our complicated past? No god shall ever favor you as he has favored both Asterius and me.
It is not often that my challengers return to face another slaughter at my hands.
Okay, so the story is, I finally decided to try to do that side story where Hypnos gets Asterius' autograph. However, I need to die to Asterius, like, about 6 times. Well, technically him and Theseus. 6 times. So the last run, I died to Asterius on purpose. And, you know, it's not all bad. It means my runs are a little bit faster now. However, when I got out of the pool of sticks, Hypnos was gone. He wasn't there to receive my message. So, therefore, I wasted a death and I still have to go after some Asterius deaths again. Which is silly. But, you know, I broke my streak. It was like a 50 or 60 run streak without any deaths, but I figured I might as well if I'm going to try to 100% complete as much as I can. So, here we are again.
Yeah, well, you're kind of in my way. What choice do I have?
Your choices led you here, and they will lead you to defeat again.
I briefly mentioned this, but there's a side quest where Hypnos asks you to get Asterius' autograph. And it's triggered the first time you die to Asterius.
This dreaded Minotaur.
So in order to do it, you die to Asterius, you come out, the river Styx, and then Hypnos will say, oh, you got killed by the Minotaur, wow. So I already got that cutscene during my playthrough, and unfortunately I didn't record that cutscene, so it was lost footage. But you basically have to die to Asterius 2 additional times after that, talk to Hypnos, then you have to die to Theseus 2 times, and then you have to die once in the final boss chamber of Elysium. I'm not sure if it matters if it's Asterius or not. Then you have to encounter Asterius in his single chamber, and then he'll finally give you the autograph. So there's going to be a few deaths ahead of me in order to get this one, but I figured I'm trying to get the last couple cutscenes for the Tisiphone quest and the Dusa and Nyx quest, so I might as well make my runs a little bit faster and get something else done at the same time and be efficient. So, Hypnos, hit me.
The Minotaur killed you again. That must have been exciting, huh? So, any chance you got that autograph for me before you got destroyed?
Sorry, no.
Even if I did, how would I bring it back?
Heard the news you broke your streak of victories of late, boss. Happens, right? You seem the sort to bounce right back, though. Let me help with that.
I did it on purpose, Herbies, okay? I did it for Hypnos.
Ugh, blasted ghost Minotaur.
Oh good, Hypnos, you're here. Man, this hall looks so messy with all this stuff, I should clean it up.
Hey, it's you! Slain by the Minotaur once more. Now he's a real beast there, isn't he? But tell me something, any progress on that autograph request of mine?
Nope, none whatsoever.
So according to what I read, you have to die to Asterius 3 times, which I've done. Then I have to do twice to Theseus, and then once more in that final boss room. So hopefully that's correct.
God, that no-good loudmouth Theseus.
Hey Hypnos, I did what you wanted.
Look, I have to say, I just don't think you have a real chance against both Theseus and the Minotaur together. But you might just have a chance to get the Minotaur's autograph from me if maybe you ask nice or something.
Okay, Hypnos, I've beaten them both together, on extreme measures too. Many, many times already, okay? You're the one that's keeping track of my deaths, aren't you? You should know this.
No.
I like how Zagreus doesn't even want to entertain that request. Like, he's not even thinking about, oh, maybe I should go ask him for that autograph to be nice to Hypnos. He's just like, nah, that's a silly request, Hypnos.
You must take sick, appalling pleasure in defeat, Hellspawn.
Losing to Theseus.
I know, right? It feels bad.
You're home! Good, you're back. So prior to when Theseus killed you again back there, did you by any chance happen to ask his big bull buddy for an autograph from me this time?
Did not come up.
I sense another furious battle here awaits us, Short One. Although you're more inquisitive than usual.
Oh, it's just... I have an odd request. You see, the god of slumber, Hypnos, colleague of mine, huge fan. He's in desperate need of your autograph. Little personalized message. I don't suppose you'd be so kind. It'd mean a lot to him.
I like how Zagreus didn't even try asking up until now. I never got the 6th piece of dialogue for dying to Asterius and Theseus from Hypnos. I'm guessing that maybe because I might have gotten it earlier during my actual playthrough, during one of my deaths to Theseus, maybe on like my first run into Elysium. So maybe that's why I only needed 5 pieces of dialogue, because I already got the 6th one much earlier in the game.
Autograph. I see. Then it appears there are such gods as favor me. I will inscribe a bit of parchment for your colleague then.
Aw, that's nice of you, Asterius. Didn't even have to question it. How do I get it back to him, though? I mean, I'm assuming that when I die and get carried through Styx, somehow I bring it with me, right? But how does that make sense?
The god-forsaken Minotaur impresses then upon a parchment a brief message to the god of sleep, and gives it to the favor-asking prince.
Yay! Thanks, Asterius. You're the best.
Know, Short One, that this favor is for you, and not for Hypnos. Though he may challenge me himself at any time.
Could you imagine Hypnos trying to challenge him? He'd probably just fall asleep.
Shall we get started then?
Oh, Hypnos, I have a present for you.
Hey, Hypnos. This is for all the well-meaning advice you've given me. A little something from a certain double-bladed axe-wielding, bull-headed, oversized monster of a man you admire.
What's this? It's kind of hard to read the handwriting. It says, "No way. To Hypnos, my biggest fan. Stay vigilant. Asterius." There's even a little picture of a bull. Wow. Wow!
Aw, Asterius even drew a picture of a bull and he wrote such a nice message. I thought he'd just scribble his name or something like that. Oh, that's nice of him. Also, something I was wondering was, when Theseus and Asterius get defeated, do they come back through the river Styx? I know that Tisiphone and Alecto do not. That's why when you kill them, they kind of explode into green bats instead of falling into red water like Meg does. But now that I think about it, I can't remember if Theseus does. I'm pretty sure he does. Couldn't Hypnos have just asked one of them for the autograph then, when they came out? Maybe?
Enjoy it, Hypnos.
Now hold a moment, fiend. Asterius made me aware that you recently asked of him an autograph, a tribute to his fame. As I am champion, I am prepared to generously offer mine as well.
Oh, well, it's not very humble of you, Theseus, but it's nice of you.
Oh, no thanks. Appreciate the offer, though. How about a fight instead?
Ouch, big blow to his ego.
It was merely a jest. I'd not have given you the cloth about my loins, much less my name, but a fight you certainly shall have.
Cloth about his loins, his underwear.
What brings you back here, huh?
So, about Tisiphone, is, everything alright with her? Talk of murder all the time and all.
Tisiphone is charged with punishing the worst that mortals have to offer. More than charged. Her work is everything to her.
No time for family or recreation, then, I take it? Pity what happens to those overly obsessed with work.
I get what you're insinuating, Zagreus. I'm nothing like her. Not even close. And don't you dare compare the two of us again.
Sure enough. No murder. Zagreus. My name is Zagreus. Can you say that, Tisiphone? No murder. Zagreus.
Look at that character development.
Murder? Miss me, Meg?
Not even Tisiphone could stop you. Your father must be sorely disappointed.
He's difficult to please, that much is true. What happened to Tisiphone anyway? She isn't much for conversation.
It runs in the family. Tis only knows her work. And professional distance is important.
Oh, good. You really did say murder, sir, didn't you? That's progress. Zagreus. I'm Zagreus. I'm not a murderer. Can you say Zagreus?
It's like teaching a child. Oh, she's really trying.
Hi. Do you remember me, Tisiphone? My name is Zagreus, Prince of the Underworld. Pretty close with Megaera, I guess. Try saying Zagreus again for me. Almost. Let's hear it. Oh, you're so close, Tisiphone. Remember Zagreus? That's me. I'm not your enemy, you know. Don't you know that? I'm only Zagreus.
She got it!
That's it! Hello?
Zagreus.
No, wait, just the first part. No murderer, just Zagreus. Or, let's see, how about happy? Can you say happy? That's not happy. Tisiphone.
Murder. Zagreus. Murderer.
Well, let's try again with happy. How about that? Happy? No murder, only happy. Come on now.
Murder. Murder Zagreus.
Great. Hi.
Murderer.
I guess the happy thing just isn't doing it for you. Though maybe trying to kill me like this is as close as you can get. You learned my name at least. That's something, right?
Murder Zagreus.
So you've been trying to give Tisiphone speech lessons between fights to the death? Are you bored or just naive?
Come on, if her vocabulary consists of two different, although admittedly almost identical words, there's got to be room for growth there. Besides, I feel like maybe she's lonely or something. Has anyone ever tried to teach her anything?
Yeah, so now she knows how to say murder, murderer, and Zagreus. Fantastic. We're working on the word happy next.
Maybe, just maybe, you're projecting your own insecurities onto her a little bit. Tis can take care of herself. Always has. Talking's not her strong suit like it's yours. But if you, in all your wisdom, think you've got something to teach her, you go right ahead.
You've tried already, haven't you? She's pretty dead set on the murder thing, then?
You know, that's a good way to put it.
Hey, she knows more words than Charon does, so that's something. And more than Cerberus, right?
Hello, Tisiphone.
Murder. Murderer.
Then we're back to square one. Look, I was just trying to get through to you with all the Zagreus and happy stuff, but if you can understand any of this, Tisiphone, I think you're all right just the way you are. Friends? Friends.
Good morning, or whenever.
Sisyphus, Have you had run-ins with Tisiphone the Fury here before? She isn't much for conversation, I don't think.
Tisiphone? Why, yes, I have in fact, Prince said. She's visited on multiple occasions, truth be told. So she's back, is she?
She is, although I think she's back to deal with me. I'll have to keep her plenty busy just in case.
Appreciated, Prince. Of all the Fury sisters, she's the one I would least care to see. But if she does stop by, you know, that's how it goes.
Got a feeling it's Tisiphone this time. Oh well.
Tisiphone started to say the strangest things lately, Redblood. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
Oh, don't fret. I was just trying to help her expand her somewhat limited vocabulary.
Stay out of her head! You really think she's got something to learn from you? Learn to shut up from her.
Guessing Electo? Hello?
Zagreus? Murderer?
Hey, any second thoughts by any chance about the whole happy thing? Just making sure.
Zagreus, murderer.
Oh, I didn't think so.
How is Nyx late, my king? Have you yet given to her my regards? For I should think that night and war would share a common ground.
Than, what's your relationship with Ares on Olympus? I know he deals in death himself, but his approach seems rather different from your own.
I do not care for his approach at all, but he has been professionally courteous with me. More than I can say for most of your Olympian relatives, I suppose.
You mean the rest of the Olympians don't treat you well?
Discounting Hermes, I should say, the rest of them have nothing much to do with me at all. I can imagine why. I know it's complicated with your father here. But as for Ares, I think he's all right.
Disturbingly all right.
I had envisioned that you would succeed.
Don't you ever get lonely down here, Nyx? For companionship, I mean. Because, well, I mean, just look at you. You're very beautiful, the night herself. There's nothing you can't do. When I was younger, I thought you and father, you know. But is there not someone else?
How very forward of you, child. I accept your compliment. Although I am the night, as you observe. The night conceals all. I know nothing of the loneliness which you describe. This entire realm, it is a part of me, and many of its subjects sprang from me alone.
I see. Forgive my rudeness. Nyx, at first I thought I maybe should ignore this, but I wanted to give you greetings from Lord Ares, who seems rather interested in you.
Ah, yes, the god of war. Among all the Olympians, he often struck me as much more accepting of our kind, born of the underworld.
You're not... Wait, you're not interested in him. I mean, he's murderous. Polite, though, I don't know.
I take an interest in whomever I take interest in, my child. I thank you for the message.
Anytime.
Is there... No, there isn't a side quest about Ares trying to get together with Nyx, right? There's no way. Right?
Do tell Night herself that I am often thinking of her here. She must believe that there are those upon Olympus who admire her.
Hey, Nyx, Lord Ares wanted you to know, and I believe I quote, that I am often thinking of her here. Take that for what it's worth.
I shall. Thank you, my child. If the god of war is thus preoccupied with me, well then, perhaps he shall be slower to send droves of mortals to our doorstep here.
I like the positive attitude.
Perhaps once all this is over, my good kin, you might arrange twixt myself and the goddess Nyx some sort of chance to meet. Do think upon it, and declare to her my interest, if you please.
My child,
Help me, Nyx. Or rather, help yourself. Lord Ares seeks for me to put the two of you in contact. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting so defensive here now that I think on it.
Because you're basically hooking someone up with your mom. That's kind of weird though, because Ares is Zeus's son, right? And Zeus and them, like, originally came from the Titans and Chaos, who also created Nyx. So, I mean, I know it's mythology and ages don't really matter, but, like, wouldn't Nyx and Ares be a bit mismatched in terms of ages?
Do not concern yourself with my ability to navigate my interpersonal relationships, my child. It pleases me Lord Ares told you this. Those of Olympus rarely say such things to any of us here.
I hear from them rather a lot myself. Than, I thought you ought to know that Ares, I think he's taken quite an interest in Nyx. Keeps asking me to talk to her on his behalf.
Finally. It's about time Olympus took notice of Mother and all her accomplishments.
Finally? You don't think Ares has untoward intentions or anything like that?
He'd be a hollow fool if he did. Why do you think they fear us on Olympus, Zagreus? Because of Hypnos? I don't think Mother Nyx requires your concern. Though by all means, talk to her about it if you like.
You're probably right.
I guess it's kind of funny he mentions Hypnos. I've been reading up on my Greek mythology a little bit. Like, wasn't there, like, an incident where Hypnos put everyone on Olympus to sleep so that they could do something to Hercules? And then Zeus found out, and then Hypnos basically ran to Nyx, and Nyx protected and hid Hypnos from Zeus. And then Zeus was like, okay, I'm not dealing with that because everyone on Olympus greatly fears the power of Nyx, I believe, right?
The goddess Nyx and I, we have begun a correspondence, my good kin. I do appreciate you putting us in touch. She is a lovely specimen, if you don't mind my saying so, perhaps.
Nyx, did you really start a correspondence with Lord Ares, as he put it to me recently? Is everything alright with you and him?
His interest in the underworld is genuine, and he does not regard me as beneath him, even if the technicality exists. The Olympians and the chthonic gods, we have much left to learn of one another's kind.
Like how she pointed out, even if the technicality exists, because the underworld is under the earth. But it's nice to know, I always got that feeling from Ares whenever he talked about Nyx, that it was just more of a genuine interest. Like, I think I made a joke about him trying to court her or whatever, but like, I don't think that's actually his intention. But it's probably written to be intentionally ambiguous in that sense as well. But I think he's just fascinated with her. That's what I think.
Fair point.
So that brings us to the conclusion of this video with all the different side quests that I could find and their various conclusions and what happens to each character at the end of their little character arc. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and this video ran a lot longer than I thought. I thought it was just going to be like 2 hours long, and we ended up getting close to 4 hours. I still have a little bit more footage of me tackling Extreme Measures Hades, doing some more furnishing stuff, some extra dialogue that I came across in the game, some stuff with the resource director, and a few other miscellaneous pieces of dialogue. So I will save those for the next video because I don't want to drag out this one any longer. I did think of splitting this video into two-hour segments. However, the reason why I decided not to was because this video is actually a pretty good compilation of cutscenes and endings, and I figured there will be people that probably come across this video that are not followers of the channel or who are not following my Let's Play and just want to see particular cutscenes in isolation. And if so, I think it's just easier if they're all in one video instead of trying to be like, Kiro plays Hades Part 16, all side quest endings Part 1. Kiro plays Hades Part 17, all side quest conclusions Part 2. That's how I would have named them, and that just sounds really long and redundant. And I like keeping the Kiro plays at the beginning with the number just because it keeps everything in order, but I can understand why it would be inconvenient that way. So I will leave it here for now, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.